What's good? What's good? We're here with State of the Fandom. As soon as I get my camera up, first L for the day. We here, State of the Fandom, where we talk the latest Zack Snyder updates, any notable DC news, anytime Warner Bros. Messes up. Much love to Sil Nation. We did a little pop-up stream today. If you are over there on the podcast channel, make sure you smash the like. Make sure you still subscribe. Shout out to the new members. Definitely, the membership is just one level. It's just $199, and you're going to get exclusive videos, updates on this platform, on this channel. It leans more towards obviously the Zack Snyder updates, box office reports, etc. Shout out to those who's been supporting the entire sylabdul Geek Network, because we got the Superman channel going on over there, and a lot of things going on with Marvel coming up real soon. So we're trying to cover all bases. We're trying to hit everybody where they're at. But we got a lot of updates today. With State of the Fandom, we're going to, obviously during the week, we'll see how the schedule goes. But we got quite a few things we want to update with y'all today. Now, one thing I'm missing, suppose I had a picture ready to talk to y'all, but because we have a lot to talk about, again, stuff related with Zack Snyder, Warner Brothers, DC. Y'all know how we do. All right, here we go. It was a picture I was missing. Make sure I put that up. Much love in the chat. I see Carlos over there on X Twitter and on YouTube. Amari, what's good? Maria, Fernando, Sil Nation. What's this? What's this DC fan? What we doing, Maria? What we doing? What we doing? We here. We here. Happy Friday. Nothing but raining here all day. Well, we're gonna hang for at least a couple hours, and as long as things are flowing, maybe a little longer. We'll see. Jovic in the chat, holding it down. Again, especially on YouTube, we trying to get that traction back up over there on YouTube. So make sure you are smashing that like, subscribing, keying in. We got a lot. We got a lot to discuss. So without further ado, let's get started here. I know that was all cap, Maria. All cap. All caps. Now, real quick, before we get into that, because again, with State of the Fandom, it's obviously, like I said, Zack Snyder stuff, but we keep an eye on DC as well. And we hit a few topics with that. So right now, if you're not up on, if you're a comic book reader and you're not up on Absolute Batman, I'm just saying I may have to start taking DC Comics fans cards. If you're not up on this Absolute Zero, in fact, like, man, maybe you should pause this and go to the comic book shop and go get this comic right now. But no, definitely the hype with DC Comics right now, I think probably the last time was when Rebirth first dropped, not after people realized what they really were doing with Rebirth, but when Rebirth first dropped, which was less than 10 years ago, like 8 years ago, 9 years probably. That was it. Reinvigorated DC Comics fans. So I guess with DC, it happens every like 8 to 10 years. They figure out, okay, let's get a good writer and let's do some good stuff in comics. And that's what Absolute Batman, Absolute Zero just dropped. So Mr. Freeze, you already know. It was this Mr. Freeze is, it's some familiar elements with the Absolute run, but they give it a little twist, right? And it's Scott Snyder. Come on, he's probably the best Batman writer in the last like 20 years. I mean, I like his stuff over the later stuff of Grant Morrison. I like the Scott Snyder stuff over that. So this is good stuff right here. Absolute Zero, good stuff. Rebirth 2016. Yeah, it was a good start. They had the whole button and stuff like that. So I'm just saying. Another Snyder. Right. And the comic, like I said, the comic was dope. So that's one thing. We want to just kind of make sure our radars are up, because it's this narrative that DC fans, we like, or Snyder fans, if you happen to like Snyder stuff, you don't read comics, according to some people. And let's kind of segue, because I guess I set this up for myself. There's a lot of talk about, obviously, Superman, right? Because when we're dealing with DC, we're, even with State of the Fandom, we're going to deal with the major DC topics. Now, my deeper dive of Superman, again, will be on my Superman channel, but this picture just dropped today, so we want to highlight this. This is probably the fullest look we've had at David Cornsweat's Superman in costume, like an actual released picture. Behind the scenes stuff is one thing, right? And this is still technically behind the scenes, but this is an approved picture that Gunn, is allowing Collider to put out there. So we see the trousers. We see this is a scene with Superman and Lex. Interesting. Now I bring this up not to trigger anyone that's not feeling this Superman film. I'm not putting this up to trigger y'all, but there is a recent video that I want to address. And again, I want to say, first thing, obviously there's two extremes with this film. There's those that's not going to rock with anything this film does. So understood. We kind of went through this with Matt Reeves' The Batman, where there was a clear boycott that people were calling for Matt Reeves' Batman. People may forget this. Now, at that time, I was really in the middle of pushing for Black Adam and everything that was, coming with that. So I wasn't down with the boycott with Matt Reeves' The Batman. Now, I ended up not really liking initially Matt Reeves' The Batman. So if people that want to boycott, like I said, I've never, said like, oh, don't boycott this and all that. It's like, no, you have that right. And then again, that's one extreme. The other extreme is you're going to glaze everything Gunn does. I'm more in the middle. But Chubby, I'm going to talk about this first, then we'll talk about Zack. Yeah. I'm going to cover this report, and then we'll get to the topic when, from the comment section. Let's smash that like. Let's make sure we're subscribed. Let's support the platform. Shout out to the new members. And then maybe I'll take suggestions at that point. maybe at that point. So just to let you know. You don't remember the boycott? Oh, no. This was like what you are seeing right now with James Gunn Superman. This is probably like at a level 10 right now. With Matt Reeves' The Batman, it was probably like at a 6, where it was, some Snyder fans, DC fans, they were like, we're not going to watch Matt Reeves' Batman. Now, again, it ended up making money. I wasn't personally boycotting it, but I understood, they didn't want to support Warner Brothers. So it's the same energy. It's the same energy with what's going on right now. And the film's going to go on and do what it's going to do. And just like with Reeves' Batman, I'll see if I like it or not. Initially I didn't. So we'll see. But so with this Superman, again, taking out the polar sides of this, we're here for the conversation. And they are James Gunn Superman fans who they seem a little miffed why people aren't really rocking with this Superman. And I'm trying to understand why they're so confused. But let's throw it up here real quick here.
Clicked for me that James Gunn has said so many times before we ever saw anything, before there was any casting announcements, he had said the one he is mainly basing this off of is All-Star Superman. Mm-hmm. And so a lot of the things that people are throwing criticisms at for this, when I was reading All-Star Superman, I started seeing what I'm seeing in the trailers.
Yeah, he's doing a really good job of getting the tone.
And in a day and age when everyone is saying, hey, it's not like how it is in the comics, well, or the opposite of like, well, that's how they do it in the comics, so that should be allowed to do it. He's been very clear that this is going to be based on All-Star Superman is going to be the main inspiration for it in terms of comic medium. And so when I'm reading the comics, I feel like I'm getting a true glimpse into the movie because it's lining up with the tone and everything that I'm getting. And that comic is melancholic. It is whimsical. It is way weirder than anything we're seeing in the trailer. So this crypto moment is nothing compared
to...
There's
a kaiju, man.
That's one thing.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, it's a trailer that's got a kaiju in it. It's
you mean the trailer has a kaiju? Yeah. That lines up, though. So if people want things to be more like the comics, it's doing it. It's there in the trailer, so you don't know what you're talking about. Got to tell you that. You don't know what you're talking about. Do the research. And
I'm going to stop right there for a second, because that's what I'm all for, people having their opinions, and we may kind of go back and kind of go through what his problem is, but it comes back to, do your research. And that's why I said from the offset, we're all, as far as my viewers here, or at least the majority of the viewers, are pretty much comic book readers or grew up with some of the classic stories. So this whole thing of do your research, that's kind of the off-putting part in this. You got to understand, everyone is going to have their opinions about this film, and people are taking it a little bit too personal. Now, let's see. Chubby Teddy in the chat, you said you missed Coffee Talk. I do Coffee Talk. I have a bunch of episodes on Twitter. I haven't seen you in any of those episodes. So you missed Coffee Talk. Yeah, support the Coffee Talks I have. This is State of the Fandom, though. So it's an insulting thing to say, do your research. As if that's what, because they're trying to paint it like anyone that has a problem with the Superman film are people that, oh, obviously you don't know the comic books. But that works both ways. Those that had a problem with Henry Cavill's Superman, his depiction in Man of Steel, that was in Earth One, Superman Earth One comics. So they just, by their own admission, saying, oh, there's different versions of these characters, and he's pulling this particular version. So all these different versions, it's just the version that you like. Maybe people just don't like this version. But I'll just tell you off the offset here. If you're looking at the polar extreme, where the same people that said they were going to boycott Matt Reeves' The Batman, that's the same audience that's saying the same thing about Superman. That's what people aren't understanding. It's not about what depiction James Gunn is using. You have a certain group that doesn't want anything to do with this. So they're going to get their jokes off online. I mean, you can't take it personal. But don't be like, oh, they don't know their comics. No, that's not. They just don't like probably James Gunn, and that's okay. They have that right to not like something, and you don't need to be explain it away saying, oh, just because you don't know the comics. I'm gonna replay that part. You ever said I don't have Twitter? Oh yeah, it'll be some coffee talks on here, but like I said, with State of the Fandom, I think I did one last week. We did one this week, so yeah, it's gonna be content over here. Any platform you're on, you're gonna catch some of my streams, but it's gonna be some more uploads over here as well. Not every comic run's widely adored, which is fine. These clowns completely missed the point why different factions of people aren't rocking with this. And again, that's why it's like, let's just keep it a whole buck here. Like I understand the group that's not rocking with this Superman whatsoever. And that's what people just got to understand what the different groups we're dealing with here. I'm always obviously open for the conversation, just like I was back then with Matt Reeves' Batman. Now, again, I ended up not liking it initially. I appreciate it now after Penguin, and Reeves had other people, involved with Penguin. But so it just, people being so naive, it's kind of disingenuous at this point to say, oh, it's because you don't know the comics. That's a little disingenuous. That's actually not why people are against this. And as soon as people understand where the lines are drawn with certain groups, then it's like you can kind of navigate this social media world and enjoy the movies you want to enjoy and talk about, be in certain circles. But just don't act like, oh, they're just so ignorant to comics. I didn't like that. I didn't like him saying that. I'm going to back that up real quick.
If people want things to be more like the comics, it's doing it. It's there in the trailer, so you don't know what you're talking about. Got to tell you that. You don't know what you're talking about. Do the research, and you'll see it's like the comics.
My issue is it's Superman has been around for 70, 80, 90 years. 90 years. Mm-hmm. And there are so many iterations of Superman. So it is so short-sighted, one, to say it's not like Superman, when it clearly is, as per the comic you're reading and many other comics. But two, to say this isn't my Superman when the movie's not out yet. And because of moments that are very authentic to the highly fantastical, super sci-fi, outlandish, otherworldly, Golden and Silver Age Superman, it is just like All-Star Superman, but it's also like tons and tons of other comic books. So to be so short-sighted is to say, like, that's not Superman, when it, by definition, is.
So again, just a little, and like I said, shout out to Coy. I mean, I don't know him personally, but we've had like small talks or whatever. And, just like with Robert Meyer Burnett, they're going to, they're caping for Gunn's vision, and we'll see how that lands with everyone. But it just doesn't mean I'm going to agree with everything they say. It's just, let's just cut through all the BS. This is not about comic book readers versus non-comic book readers. They tried that before with the Snyder fandom or anyone that is not rocking with the Hamada vision and things like that. That's not what this is about. And like I said, just people, and I try to make that line clear. That's why I have the Superman channel, because those that really wants that fuller conversation about this new Superman, and I'm going to start doing reviews and conversations, discussions about some of the classic Superman stuff as well on that channel. We're going to celebrate Superman over there, all visions, and what we don't like, we don't like. But and I got that set up. That's going to kick in. Got Batman, stuff like that on the other channels. But for the overall conversation, because this is a big DC story, and that's the core of my channel, is talking DC along with Zack Snyder business. So we're going to talk about this Superman, but I'm not naive that there is a group that doesn't want anything to do with it. And if this film performs, I'm going to report it on here, and just the numbers won't lie. If it fails, same report, numbers won't lie. And that's just how I deal with things. That's how I'm going to continue to deal with things on this main channel. So that's just what it is. Let's see, Amari. Some people saying Superman should smile more. So the hypocritical nature, again, that's one thing I try to tell people. Even though I'm in the group in a sense where I'm kind of in the middle, I'm saying, well, let's see what we got, and then we'll talk about what we actually receive in this film. I try to remind those that's feeling a little, taken back that people are hating on Gunn Superman, is that we ain't too far away from when we had those Man of Steel wars, where like Amari saying, "Oh, Superman didn't smile, or he didn't have a lot of dialogue," or this is Earth One Superman. If we're talking about comics, now if you don't like that version of the comics, then that means everyone else has their right to not like this version of the comics, right? So it works both ways, and that's when it gets down to people just want to gatekeep. Gatekeep this experience, and that's not what we're just not going to allow gatekeeping. Just like with the whole crypto and the dog situation, people trying to dog explain. Just understand people have different opinions. That's the main point. And if people are rocking with this version, again, they have their right to. Just try to find yourself in conversations with people that are probably more like-minded. I'm more open. And that comes across with the subjects I cover, because I'm actually open to the conversation. There's stuff about this that I'm actually looking forward to. But I may save that for the Superman channel because I know the audience and I respect the audience, right? So that's what people got to understand. Yovik said, Gunn Superman is not my Superman. Cavill is my Superman. And you have that right. You have that right. You definitely have that right. So interesting. Just wanted to kind of cover that briefly again. When I do streams over here, obviously, even if we're going to do some Zack Snyder updates, of course, but our eye is still on DC over here, whatever's the big story, and we'll keep our eye on it. All right. All right. So we got that out the way. Let's get into just a little Warner Brothers stuff. Let's see here. We got Minecraft. A lot of people. Let's get this Superman out of here. A lot of people was talking about Minecraft, and as far as what that's doing with Warner Brothers. If you saw some of the uploads this past month, it was talking about DeLuca and Abdy, and are they even going to survive? Their contract runs through the summer of 2026, so next year. So beginning of next year, they're going to be in a lame duck year. Really starting this summer, if they don't get an extension, they're in a lame duck year. Now, what makes that interesting is that we was following Warner Brothers Films performances. Beginning of this spring here, you had Mickey 17, flopped. Alto Knights flopped. Up next was Minecraft. And all of us, again, I include myself, all of us laughed like, oh, if your fate rests on a Minecraft movie, oh, you might as well start packing up DeLuca Abdy because it's a wrap, right? Well, $300 million globally in one weekend later. This is the new phenomenon, a Minecraft movie. This was a swing, and this is what DeLuca and Abby was saying. They were trying to take big swings. Now, understand this. This is a collaboration with Legendary Entertainment, which I believe Legendary, they helped with the first Man of Steel, right? Someone correct me if I'm wrong with that. It was the Man of Steel film, but they are part of Dune and the Monsterverse films. So Legendary was the main people trying to push this IP, and to DeLuca and Abdy's credit, they picked that up and they, in conjunction, partnered with Legendary and distributed this film. And again, it's making boatloads of money. 130 million was the domestic opening. Okay, this is important because we're showing week 2 now. Week 2 is on track to have like a 40 to 45% drop its second weekend. That's insane. Why is that insane? Because normally you're thinking like especially if you have a front-loaded opening, you usually have like a 60% drop. And the people go crazy if it's more than 65%, and they write their stories about it. This is Minecraft movie is tracking to drop less than 50%, meaning more of a hold for this, meaning you reached your audience, the audience likes what you did, and it's carrying over repeat viewership. Families likely are going to come back and see that. Now, I've seen this film, Minecraft. It's a mess. But again, I don't know anything about this game. I don't know, what we're doing with this. So I wasn't the audience. I wasn't going to move the needle with this type of film. They found their audience. This is a thing too, because there's a few things I want to make clear on this stream. I know my schedule's been all over the place. I had a chance to really just kind of make it very clear my thoughts on several topics. We're going to do that. We're going to do that tonight because I pride myself. If it's one thing I did, I would say different from a lot of people in my content creation is I put the business. I highlighted the business. It's still covering, geek entertainment, comic books, but we looked at the business as well, right? And that's one thing I really prided myself on. And when you're looking at the business on it, it's about having accurate information. I'm seeing too many, and again, people gonna have their opinions about what's going to succeed, and that's one thing to have an opinion and speculate. But to just ignorantly put out misinformation, I was like, should I address all this all the time? Well, we're gonna do it on my streams. We're gonna address this when, it's about the numbers. It's really not about feelings, right? We could talk about feelings. I could talk about, again, what I would hope to happen, what I wish would happen. But when we talk in business, if it comes across my timeline, I just got to start addressing stuff more. But when Minecraft opened up, I saw a lot of people saying, okay, again, this film opened up, it beat Barbie domestically. The Barbie opening was, what was that, 132, and this got 133 or something like that. It was like it just edged Barbie domestically. And that's why I said we got to separate the feelings now. I understand a lot of people want Warner Brothers to fail, but we can't ignorantly say, oh, well, it's going to have a massive second week drop. Based off what? Now, I got the numbers here, so it's not tracking. So people are talking with their feelings too much. Men lie, women lie, numbers don't. I've been saying that for 4 or 5 years now. This is a hit. And now it's going to hold like crazy. Again, projected right now with these numbers. So, and I'm going to get into it because a lot of people talk about Warner Brothers stocks and things like that. And it's like, and this is why I'm saying this like this. Because I want to really set the proper expectations why I'm saying this like this. Because, I've been at the forefront as far as of this fandom with me and the late great Mikey Sutton doing Rogues Gallery. That was appointment television for all Snyder fans. If you look at the history of this fandom, you got release a Snyder cut, Fiona, very early, David Pena, Chris Wong, and then things kind of shifted, right? And you had the Hub account, release a Snyder cut, the Hub account. You had Peely and the Watchmen. This is a little history lesson for everyone. Then the cut was announced to be released. Then it was about Restore. So that's when I came in, and late great Mikey Sutton. We was holding down Restore because Henry was coming back, Ben was coming back. So we kind of picked up that baton. And then they hired James Gunn, right? Then they hired James Gunn. So, at the forefront of the fandom, all of your favorite Snyder accounts was watching Rogues Gallery. That's where they were getting their information. And some felt some kind of way. The whole Black Adam thing kind of caused a rift between me and, several accounts. Because I was like, we need to support this. And it was like, oh no, Justice Cavill, right? But during that leg, when I'm holding the baton, I had to be factual with my information. You see what I'm saying? I had to be factual. You have people still to this day trying to say, oh, I think I found one thing sylabdul didn't say right. But because I'll be quite honest, like me, just some guy from Kentucky, starting off as some black guy, if I was really wrong one time, that would have been a wrap for me. So we still here, Still Nation still here because I kept it factual. So this is my point I'm trying to make. Whoever picks up the baton next, and we take it to the promised land of Zach doing DC again. You got to be factual. You can't just be all on your emotions saying what you hope would happen. You got these anonymous accounts who's claiming to be Snyder fans. They just want to be bots. They want to lean into being toxic. I never was a part of that. When they were trying to push, oh, we're bots and we're toxic, I was like, no, that you lose your credibility. People can't take you seriously if you want to be toxic all the time. I mean, hey, do your thing, but no one's going to take you seriously. Anyway, I just wanted to get that off for a second. But so when we're talking about numbers, what we're talking about is again, don't get so caught up in, oh, just Warner Brothers needs to fail. It can and probably will, but that doesn't have to be attached to you wanting more Zack Snyder. Warner Brothers needs to fail. Gunn needs to fail. Restore the Snyderverse. Those are two separate things. So as I said, whoever picks up that baton and goes forward, be factual, because if it comes across my timeline, I'm going to have to address it because people are asking me, is this true what people are saying? So I'm just going to leave it at that. We'll leave it at that. We're not going to make it direct, stuff like that. We got Los J in the chat. Who wants Snyder again? Well, you're in a chat room right now where people want Snyder. So, who's the weirdo? I'm just saying. So obviously some people, and that's what I'm saying, people get so extreme, they're going off just their own worldview. Hey, if this is you here, buddy, congratulations. It's a video. It's titled Zack Snyder in the video. He's coming here to say, I don't like Zack Snyder. Look at me. Please. Okay. Go back to people ignoring you. All right. So anyway. So again, keeping it factual. So I just wanted to make that clear as far as with that. Let's transition here. Because, okay, this is an example of people saying, you know, they want to ride for Zack Snyder and his works, but let's keep it factual, because people will poke holes all through it if you're not being factual, like this here. So again, I addressed with Minecraft. People was like, "Oh, it's gonna bomb in second week," based off what? Your feelings? It's not bombing. Okay, this is a win for Warner Brothers. Then you got here, Zazov, today, this comes up. CEO, 2024 pay rises 4% to nearly 52 million. Now, this comes a day after, this report comes a day after the Warner Bros. Discovery stocks went up 17%. That's a near record rise. And this is because of the whole tariff situation, and we'll touch on that when it comes to films and theaters. But for the longest, all the times I talked about Warner Brothers and Discovery and everything that was going on, not once did I bring up the stock prices. Like, have y'all ever seen me say, oh, this is why Warner Bros. Is going to fail? Look at the stocks. Now, some people do, and hey, you do your thing. Shout out to Speedy in the chat. Do your thing. You know, yeah, the stocks prices, I say, I wish I would have bought some Warner Brothers stocks when they was really low, because it jumped up. And all I've said with stock prices for the longest is it's the entire, well, let me bring it up. I'm going to bring it up. Let me bring it up. Because we need visual aid when I talk about this. When I bring up the stock prices, it's not about just about Warner Brothers films. All right, let me pull this screen up. And I'm going to address it. I'm just going to address it once, because it's not about, oh, people are wrong when they bring up the stocks, but again, about being factual. People ain't going to take it too seriously if you're not being factual. Now, what do I mean by that? Right here. All right, right now, this is Warner Bros. Discovery stock, right? Just under 8 per share. So I had a record jump, and now it's kind of leveling off, just under 8. What does that mean? Because the James Gunn make an announcement, and this, this sustained Warner Bros. Discovery stock? No, that's not how the stock market works. Warner Bros. Discovery, their stocks have been going down and down for the longest because the shareholders realize there may be another merger, or they may split up the company. This isn't just Warner Brothers Films. This is Warner Brothers Films, New Line Films, DC. These are the cable channels, Turner Sports Networks, the news networks, everything. Discovery. One Superman announcement isn't going to change these stocks. And just on the other hand, a Zack Snyder announcement, when they said he's going to do the 300 prequel, that doesn't change these stocks. These are going to remain relatively low until they finally split up the company, film and streaming over here, and then you got your TV and cable over there. You got the gaming. That's when they're gonna kind of level and say, okay, what's the real value of these different legs of the company? I just want to put it up there because people, and again, there's no knock on you if you're looking at stocks every day and stuff like that. But people can't take your information seriously if you don't realize a film announcement is not going to affect these stocks. You know what affects these stocks? A good Batman movie. So that's why Matt Reeves, the Batman, is going to do another film, because that actually helps the shareholders. So on the flip side, those saying, oh, I think Gunn is going to cancel Matt Reeves, the Batman, based on what? Because Gunn wants to have his own movies. If Gunn tries to get in the way of a Matt Reeves Batman movie, the shareholders will call for James Gunn's job. Because when you put out a Batman movie, that's instant profit. Box office, marketing, in conjunction, they did a partnership with Little Caesars last time and Hardee's or Carl's Jr. Batman sales. And you think the shareholders are going to allow James Gunn? Just logically. Because I'm seeing this too much. I'm seeing this being thrown around so much, these conspiracy theories, that there's a rift in Warner Bros. Discovery. I'm going to tell you the rift today. I told you this rift 3 or 4 years ago. But we're going to remind y'all today. So I'm just saying. Anything with James Gunn Superman is not going to affect these stocks. Let's just be real. Okay? That's one thing. And again, so why is David Zaslav, get this out the way. Zaslav, why does he get some raise? Because according to on their books, and again, the shareholders vote on this. Yes, Zaz's been doing some stupid stuff. No, it's like, let's be clear. I've been chronicling all of this, right? When we thought he was on our side. And then he panicked after Black Adam. I got all this documented. So you can't slip these things by me because I've been chronicling everything. When me and Mikey was reporting Comcast, NBC Universal, they will possibly buy Warner Brothers. Yeah, people was following our story. And then I came out, it was this last year, and I said, oh yeah, I'm hearing Comcast, they kicked the tires on Warner Brothers and they're going to pass. So it was a real thing. We weren't selling you something. That was real conversations that now business journals openly talked about, and they reported now that was a real thing. Comcast potentially buying Warner Brothers. Now I see people still saying that. Oh yeah, well, when Universal buys them, no. I updated that story. They took a look at Warner Brothers. As is, no, it's not happening. So let's keep up. Let's keep up with the story here, right? But why can't Zaslav get a raise? Because according to quote the shareholders, they felt that Zaslav was ahead of schedule. What did they say? Was he ahead of schedule, or I forgot the actual term. They were satisfied basically with his progress. See, I put it in a tweet. I didn't memorize everything I'm saying. Let me see. Let's see. I just tweeted it out and I don't have it now. That's a good L. Get fresh L right there. Okay. It says Zaslav exceeded expectations regarding their company goals. But the stock prices. I told you why. I told you why the stock prices are where they are. Right? I don't mind repeating that in the future, but I just wanted to show y'all. I just wanted to show y'all visually. If everything that Zaslav is doing, he's tanking the share, the stock prices, and everything announced with Superman's tanking the stock prices, and Zaslav's doing terrible. He's going to cancel Matt Reeves' Batman, but they come back and give him a raise. Something's not adding up, right? So they know this company will likely split up or, spin off some businesses. So Zaslav is on schedule. He's just a bonehead at times. So both things can be true. Zaslav could be exceeding expectations in-house and look like an idiot to the rest of us. That's what's happening. That's what's happening. So that is what it is as far as with the business side of what Zaslav is doing. And again, with those stock prices, like I'm just saying, bro, like we gotta be accurate with this because no one's taking us seriously as a fandom. And I'm speaking of the Snyder fandom when we're just throwing stuff around, unsubstantiated stuff. You know what I'm saying? So that is what it is. Now, so real quick, since Minecraft movie is, obviously a success, is killing it in the box office. Next up for DeLuca Abdy, Warner Brothers is Sinners. Now, first off, we don't care about Rotten Tomatoes. I don't care what I've never cited Rotten Tomatoes as some kind of W. But one thing I've learned is you take the W's when they come to you, though. So if you're going to give Sinners 100 Rotten Tomatoes score, then we'll take it, right? Because I'm pulling for this film to do good. The critics are loving it. My journalist buddies, they've seen a screening of this and they're praising it. They're putting Ryan Coogler like on Nolan level. I'm like, oh, okay, whoa, okay, cool. Hey, if that's what he's doing, let's do it. This is an original tale. This is a possible franchise as well. And it's a film under $100 million to make. So, people love franchises like that where, I ain't got to spend too much money and we could make more money. Someone said in the chat, what's the early tracking for Sinners? First off, the budget is $90 million. It's right now, I think the long time projection, I think is $50 million opening domestically, meaning likely internationally, it can get close to that as well. It can cover its costs in its first weekend. The initial costs, and then of course you need to make more for marketing. Let me see if there's any updates on that. But last time, also 40 to 50 million was a long-term projection. And again, that's for domestic. And I believe internationally can get another 40 million. So they can get close to 100 million opening weekend, make money during the week off of good word of mouth audience score. This is a film. We'll see if it makes 100 million opening weekend. This is a film. It'll get between 300 to 400 million. 400 high end. If the audience score is what this is tracking and what the critics is saying, yeah, definitely they're making a profit with this. So good stuff. So DeLuca Abdy, y'all, pulling some W's, right? So we got this new article today because we're staying on the DeLuca Abdy conversation. And they had a lot to talk about today. I was really surprised at what DeLuca and Abdy was quoted after that Minecraft W. They got a lot to say. Let's pull this up here. Yeah, early tracking for Sinners is 40 to 50 million. Neo 7's probably is on a delay or something. So that means he didn't hear me say this yet. But DeLuca Abdy, so that's an L. That's an L for Marcus, first off. From the future. Wait till he hears it. Wait till he hears me say it. But DeLuca Abdy comes out with this article. DeLuca Abdy comes out with this article, and they're talking about, this is a victory lap, but they keep it pretty real. They keep it pretty real. So let's go through this article here as we transition to this. we're close to an hour so far on this stream. So we'll see how the next hour goes here. Smash a like, make sure you subscribe. This channel is monetized again, so shout out to the new members, the members that's rejoined the fold. It's gonna be some exclusive videos and things coming up for y'all, for sure, for sure. Let's see. Let me make sure I got this set up right. Oh, we ain't got enough likes. We need we need some more likes over there on YouTube, man. What's going on? What is going on? Shout out to X Twitter for the continued support. Yeah, man, we need we need some YouTube likes. What's going on here? What is going on here? And I don't ask enough, but yeah, we need them likes. Let's see. Let's run this again. We get to, I know a lot of people, the silent lurkers. I met some of y'all when I went to Full Circle. I was like, yo, sometimes y'all silent lurkers, but make sure you smash that like. Then you can go back to being the silent lurker. Where we at with likes? Yeah, man. We got to do more frequent streams. I guess we need to, yeah, because Twitter's killing it. Twitter's killing the game. So we got Marcus here. Says at this point, DeLuca and Abdy are just building their resume for the next studio that they will land at. I'm so glad Marcus said this because these quotables in here definitely line up. And let's talk about it. DeLuca and Abdy playing a long game, mixing IP like Bodyguard revamp, bold originals, animations despite brutal press. Now, if y'all been following my reports, it's been clear that Zazzov made sure he put it out there before Mickey 17 hit that, yo, this slate looks trash. Maybe Superman will be good, but all this is DeLuca and Abby's fault. That's what Zazzov made sure he got out there. See, when these stories come out, I always ask myself, who wants this story out there? Those early reports only benefited Zazzov. And then Pam Abdy, she came out with an article like about a week ago, and she kind of pushed back, like, hey, everything's good, keeping the business. Now, I told you I'm going to tell y'all what this rift is. We'll go through the article. I'm going to remind some of y'all probably know already where the rift is. It's not Gunn and Reeves. I'm getting so tired of seeing that. I'm getting so tired of people saying that's where no, that's not where the rift is at. It's a little higher than that, right? You already know what the rift is, but we'll talk about it. Shout out to Neo Sevens with the super chat. I had to give you the epic drop. All right. And the saying in here, despite the rough press, DeLuca Abdy will actually spend this weekend at other studios, reading scripts, dailies, drawing up the 2026 slate. Because their contract, as we've covered here, is they were signed in the summer of 2022. They had a 4-year contract, and that's up in the summer of 2026. So they have just over a year left on their contract. They're going to be entering what they call it again? Lame duck contract year. It will kick in after this summer. It's coincidentally after Superman drops. Either they'll get an extension or it'll be a lame duck year. So, says the overheated reports quieted after a Minecraft movie did way better than anyone imagined. Quickly joined another surprise blockbuster, Beetlejuice, though people was expecting that to be good, as top priority sequels to go with other IP revivals from The Matrix. So you're going to get a new Matrix film. And I don't know if it's going to be a full reboot, but they're going to either progress the story or whatever they're going to do. Gremlins and Goonies, again, those are reboots, I guess. DeLuca Abdy, they want to lean into the IPs they own. Of course, DC is one, but they have a separate studio for DC, and we'll talk about DC as well. A revamp of the Kevin Costner, Whitney Houston, The Bodyguard. Okay, interesting. They're trying to lean on the hits, right? Repairing relationships. We got some quotes in here I want to get to, because you're going to see the mindset of DeLuca and Abby, just like, and I'm keeping Marcus' comment up here for a reason, because it's all about just playing the game. This whole article, all the announcements, everything they're saying in here is about playing the game overall. They know Zaza put them out there, on Front Street. Minecraft being a hit, that's right in Zaza's face, because DeLuca and Abdy put out a statement. How many times does these film studios put out a statement when something hits? You put out a statement because it's something personal there. Like you needed that W. That's what DeLuca and Abby did. They put out a statement when Minecraft opened up with 300 million globally, saying, "Take that, Zaza. And if we just got 1 year left here, we're gonna put out some more hits, and then we're gonna peace out." All right. Let's go through this. Question to them, it says, you've both been around long enough to have taken punches, scored successes as execs and producers. Considering the speculative press coverage you might be replaced, what kind of toll does that take on filmmaker-friendly executives when your job is, as Cougar said a couple of days ago, to empower movies that are going to get people to leave their home TVs and go to theaters? So they're like, how you staying focused? It's like, you getting killed out here. People, Zaza, make sure you put out there, I'm already looking for replacements. A little premature, very premature by Zaza, because again, that's why this is just a predictive thing with these box office. No one expected Minecraft to open up more than 60 million domestically. It more than doubled that, right? Just didn't see that coming. So we can guesstimate all we want. Either the people are going to, take it or they're not. So when Zaza tried to get ahead of this to say, hey, when this fails, it's their fault. Joke's on you, Zaza. DeLuca says, we are veterans and you do develop a thick skin as you roll along here. We just try to drown out the noise, keep our heads down, do the best job we can do. I think what's different about this era from times past is we're now living in this era of the snark industrial complex with the rise of clickbait journalism, the propensity to lean into anonymous sources and fake news. You just kind of realize, well, this is the moment we're in. And these jobs come with a certain amount of scrutiny. That's fair. We were given a mandate to take swings with original material and with world's best storytellers. And those kind of films are always going to get the most scrutiny. That just comes with the territory. So we're just trying to stay focused on doing the work. And this entire answer by DeLuca, did you hear him say anything? Zaza said he's confident in us. A very real answer, but it's about what you don't say in these answers. The first thing I would have said, if I was good with my boss, and say, "Hey man, I'm hearing they about to fire you." You know, they saying they're gonna fire you. First thing I would say, "Oh no, I talked, you know what I'm saying? I talked to the boss, we good." You know, dude was like, "No, hey, I got thick skin." You know, Zaza sending shots at us. But then he says, "Yo, our mandate, Zaza wanted us to take swings with original material." All right. But then Zaza tried to flip him and try to take him out for that same reason. When you take swings, you don't always hit the ball, right? You gotta be realistic. And that's why I said Zaza on one hand, yeah, he's doing what the shareholders want him to do, but he still can look like a bonehead to us. Right? That's just, both things could be true. When Minecraft did his, 130 plus domestic, 300 million worldwide opening weekend, a lot of people was like, "Oh, this is DeLuca Abdy. It's going to save their jobs, right?" No, immediately I heard no. That's this. Maybe we'll see what Sinners does. Superman, they're going to make sure all that credit or blame will go to DC Studios, Zazif and Safran. So they don't really have a chance for to really change Zaza's mind. Again, those reports are true. He was already looking for people to replace him. They want to kind of cool down that story. Zazav does. So then when next year, next summer comes, then he could just quietly probably move Safran into their jobs or something. So, but this is DeLuca and Abby. They were doing the job they were hired to do. Yeah, I'm not expecting them to get an extension at all. All right, let's continue. See, Abdi comes in and says, "I don't think the pressure to picking movies and deciding what movies to make and the movie making process has dramatically changed over the decades that we've been doing it. Still the same idea of picking right. Sometimes you're going to pick winners, sometimes you're not. Sometimes you're going to pick movies that are critically applauded and they don't find an audience. I think that's what's more difficult in this era, and is what you were saying earlier is about how do you get audiences to come out of the house, and it's the chemistry and alchemy of all the things coming together at the same time. Whether that's the concept of the movie, the talent that's directing the film, the dating of the film, what's going on in the world around it. I think that's what has become a little more challenging. It lifts the pressure of it all, but I think that makes the job still exciting. Like Mike said, we've been doing this a long time. People are going to punch us all the time. Well, I'm from Jersey, she says. He's from Brooklyn. Put your hands up. She just said that. And we can handle the hits. Again, nothing in Pam Abdi's response said, "Yo, Zaza said we good," because they're not good with Zaza, right? And again, them want to take swings. Mike DeLuca, Pam Abdi, they were trying to do the last ride of the Snyderverse, right? They were trying to take that swing. And then after Black Adam, everything changed. It was DeLuca and Abdi that got Cavill to shoot additional scenes for the Flash film. I reported that summer. Taking swings. They commissioned the script of Man of Steel 2 to be written. But again, everything changed after Black Adam. All right. So that's the type of people they are. They want to take those swings, but they know right now it's like Marcus said here, it's about padding your resume. That's what's going on. It's about padding your resume. And this is a good win. It's Minecraft. It makes them look good. Sinners, all indications is that's going to make them look good as well. And then we'll get to the Superman part and Batman. They speak about Batman in this as well, too. So let's jump down. We're going to get to the talk of Superman and Batman. But I want to make that clear, like, yeah, though this is great with Minecraft for them, this, it doesn't look like it's going to save, their job or anything. So let's see, let's jump down here. So they addressed this Joker folly I do as well. As Pam Abby says, we believe in being in business with filmmakers over the long term, in repairing relationships. That's what they were trying to do with Zack. They want Nolan to do a Warner Brothers film, but Universal's treating them too good. Unlike their predecessors, Kilar and Sarnoff. So I'm not sure if Nolan's going to come back to Warner Brothers for anything. He's a free agent, I believe, anyway. But it says sometimes you have Minecraft, sometimes you have Joker too. But you can't be so reactionary that either makes you change your strategy. And we really believe in ours. This is why I tweeted this out the other day about DeLuca Abdy. They got the deal done. It was for Ice Cube last Friday. That was DeLuca and Abdy that got that deal done. And again, it's about, not being so reactionary, getting deals done, repairing relationships. Because Ice Cube was talking about the former regime. He was like, Warner Brothers, it was a couple of years ago. He's like, Warner Brothers ain't messing with this IP at all. And all of a sudden, DeLuca Abdy gets the deal done. They come in and gets the deal done. And so I tweeted out, I was like, man, because you got people out there saying, F Warner Brothers, F Warner Brothers. DeLuca and Abdy was trying to change course and all this stuff. I mean, yes, did they? I mean, they were the ones that made sure a full circle happened for Zack Snyder, Deborah Snyder. It's because of DeLuca and Abdy. Again, they wanted to bring Ben back. But Black Adam had to perform, whether it's fair or not. They put their chips that this is going to work with Black Adam. They took their chances with that, and that blew up in their face. So I'll tell you, as far as what is this rift, you're kind of seeing it in this article for the past couple of weeks. It's Zazev and DeLuca and Abdy. That's where the rift is at. That's where the meeting of minds is not happening. Now, after Black Adam, I believe I reported this. So this was 2022. I received word pretty much after Gunn and Safran was officially hired. I was told probably that week that DeLuca and Abdy, they're shut out of all DC conversations. Zazev, it was like, y'all not in this anymore. Why does Zazev behave like that? Because again, it was DeLuca and Abdy saying, let's get Ben Affleck in Aquaman. Let's obviously Cavill, Black Adam, then let's get him in the Flash film. And let's pay a little money up front. And we'll figure it out as we go. I apologize if there's any camera issues. That was DeLuca and Abdy's idea. So when you pull all your chips in the $7 and Black Adam bucket there, and it doesn't perform, whose fault does it look like? Just like with Joker 2, Zazev was like, DeLuca and Abdy, y'all tried to take a swing, and it didn't connect. So that's why Abdy and DeLuca, they're saying, yeah, you can't be so reactionary like Zazev. So that's why I was always like, hey, I'm going to see what they can do. I understood, their bet on Black Adam didn't work. So that means no last ride of the Snyderverse. But let's still see what they could do. And people was mixing up DeLuca and Abdy like they were the former regime. I'm like, no, that's not what's going on here. And all of a sudden, Zack gets the deal to do the prequel to 300. That's DeLuca and Abdy. So I said, people, they are the most non-Warner Brothers execs that we've seen in the last 20 30 years. Well, probably since Silverman. Insane. Let's get to the DC stuff. In the chat, has any of y'all seen Minecraft? I'm not recommending it to anyone. I'm just saying, did anyone see it? I thought it was a hot mess, but when it's business, you got to get the people what they want. They got Smokey back. That's true. That is true. Let's see. So it's never good enough for some people. In the chat, they said they should have taken out the jokes and kept it rated R. Hey, they took a swing. It didn't work, man. You want to keep kicking them while they're down, huh? These choices, I'm sure it's not just on a whim, to say, oh, let's make Black Adam rated R. Let's see if we get more screenings with that. You think that alone would have made the film perform better? I don't have any indication thinking that would. Hey, just Black Adam didn't work for everybody, man. Whether it was going to be rated R or not, didn't work. I like the film. All right. Now they're asking about Superman. They talk about when they hired James Gunn to start the Superman script. So if we put two and two together here, because there's reports, and I talked about this a couple years ago, that they were writing a Henry Cavill. They were getting someone to write the Henry Cavill Man of Steel 2 script, just in case they were going to do a new deal with Cavill. The backup plan was Gunn and obviously Safran for the business side. Everything pointed to the Black Adam performance, y'all. That reverberated several decisions, exec decisions, bigger than people thought. So both these things are true. That the Man of Steel 2 script was being written. We talked about that several times. And James Gunn was the backup plan. Then when Black Adam fell apart and they couldn't get ahead for DC, they settled Gunn and Safran. Okay, Gunn, your script is up. Let's reboot this. That's what happened. That would have proven they were staying serious. Yeah, but again, why didn't people like Black Adam? It wasn't because it wasn't serious enough for them. Most of the issues that people say with Black Adam was Black Adam himself. A lot of people just didn't like The Rock's performance. Again, I enjoyed it. I mean, I know it was like a one note performance, but that didn't resonate with people, whether, again, it was rated R or not. I mean, would I have liked the rated R version of Black Adam? Yeah, sure. Yeah. But I don't know if that would have translated differently, And so I'm highlighting that because I know there's going to be weirdos online to say, oh, see, they was never going to bring Cavill back. No, they were. And I talked about that. I'll find the old video. I got confirmation on they were writing the Man of Steel 2 script. And it was an either or situation. So, yeah. So we addressed that. Now you got DeLuca here. Again, it's about playing the game. It's about, staying course and playing the game. DeLuca starts talking about Superman, which is very clear that unlike Mickey 17, Sinners, Minecraft, all that's going to be on DeLuca and Abby, and they're enjoying the success with Minecraft. Superman it's not going to be if it's a W or not. It's not going to be on DeLuca and Abdy. Now, DeLuca says here, I love Superman. I think James Gunn has crushed it. Again, got to play ball out there, y'all. But again, the beef is not DeLuca and Abdy versus James Gunn. It's at the top. It's Zazev. They haven't mentioned Zazev's name. At least I didn't see it with the paragraphs I covered. That's your riff right there. And again, I was told that 3 years ago. But it says here, it's got tons of his trademark heart, talking about Gunn, humor. The action is jaw-dropping. It's the Superman I grew up with. So I get choked up when I watch it. Come on, DeLuca. You're laying it on a little bit too thick, DeLuca. Like, just relax a little bit. I get choked up, bro. He says, I think it's so epic and visually arresting and emotional. The performances are great. It's a 5-star movie to me. I can't wait for the world to see it. Yeah, we're really excited about Superman. James crushed it. People got to realize, again, you got to play this role until you're not with the company anymore. But this is where all this overpraise is coming from. DeLuca and Abby, at least DeLuca, he's really trying to, hype up the Superman film. Because again, they won't get all the credit, but this still will go on their resume. Once they leave next summer, be like, oh yeah, we have Minecraft, Sinners, Superman. We got that Matrix revival coming up, Goonies, Gremlins. And that's going to be their legacy with Warner Brothers. So that's why you got the extra glaze in here. All right. It's all good. He goes on again with the tone. In the spirit of Richard Donner, says it's closer to that. There's also a big hunk of epic sci-fi, which that's the part I'm looking for with this film. There's a little bit of what I loved about Guardians of the Galaxy. Now, I told y'all before they started shooting this film last year that the template for this film is Guardians 3. I keep saying it, and I know everyone kind of picked up on it now because you heard about the test screenings. I was saying this at the beginning of last year because that's the tone they were going for. Now, seeing that crypto and all the fortress scene and everything, again, I have an uneven response reaction to that. This is a James Gunn film. You're going to have the James Gunn quippiness. I think the action is going to be great according to the behind-the-scenes stuff that we saw. And then people that saw the screening, I talked to a few of them. But it's going to have those James Gunn moments. So it's whether can you endure those James Gunn moments or not. That's what this film's going to be. We'll see how it lands. But this is how DeLuca is selling it. It's still a Warner Brothers film. It's still under his watch. In a sense. Warner Brothers is distributing the film, DC Studios. Says the comic book sources that he uses for inspiration, All-Star Superman and the like, are in there too. It's really a love letter to what has made Superman endure for almost 100 years. He managed to get it all in there. Again, dang, I got to find that old video because this is what I told y'all last year. Okay? Everything they're trying to say for this film. What do you say? Someone always got to bring up Christopher Reeve. Can we do one Superman without bringing up Christopher Reeve? No, that's legacy. But even I think that's just how it's going to be, for generations to come. Because when you have a new Batman, you're going to bring up Keaton. You know what I mean? It's going to happen. So, like I said, this is how they're trying to position the Superman film. DeLuca and Abby, they're going to play ball. They're going to get some W's, on their way out. And if Superman does well, and I'll just say it now, if Superman does well, then Safran's going to get the job. If Superman, for some reason, kind of underperforms or not quite launched properly, I guess where's that line? If for some reason Superman does less than 500 million, then that would be a disaster. Because I don't see any possible way it does less than 500 million. I think it'd be between 550 to 600. I think that's what that film's going to do. So that is what it is. I think it's going to make enough money, and I think Safran's going to get the job as head of Warner Brothers because he wants the job. This is actually a good question. Would DC films be better if they did adaptations instead of inspired by? Probably not beat for beat. I mean, Watchmen is a straight up adaptation, right? Zack Snyder did. And then I like in these films, well, first, it's just a couple reasons, but the main thing, if you do just a straight adaptation, then if you're a filmmaker and you're a writer, a producer, as well, and you're just straight up adaptating something, then you're getting a lesser cut of the film. This is like the J.J. Abrams rule. He always has to do something original, with anything, so he doesn't have to pay the original writer. So this is business. If you do adaptations, then you're paying the estates of everyone. If you just get inspired by it and you write your own version of it, which is what James Gunn is doing, then you don't have to, share the profits, right? So I don't see them doing just straight up adaptations. No. Now, Pam Abdy talks about Batman, and this is the quote I think everyone pulled from this article. Talking about Matt Reeves, the Batman. She says, we're not in the weeds on the Batman stuff. It's really James Peter Safran who run DC. We have a bit of other collaboration with Matt Reeves, but Peter and James know he is a writer, directing auteur in his own right, and that it will come when he's written his best Batman script and is ready. And this probably won't stop the whole Reeves talk, but I really hope all this Reeves talk stops. Again, I know there's other outlets and people want to throw rumors and gossip around and things like that, but for at least the last year or more, I've been pretty much reassured, like, oh no, Reeves, like, that's the Batman for them right now until they get this DCU up and going. That's the Batman. You're not going to just throw that away because you're thinking, oh, because James Gunn wants his own version of the film. That doesn't even make sense. I said, we're just going to keep it a buck tonight, man. That doesn't make the logic of that doesn't make sense. Someone else is directing Supergirl, right? And this is what I'm saying. It's like, for people that wants to hold the baton for the fandom, you got to be factual. These reasonings don't make sense. That this corporation is going to allow James Gunn to say, oh, that successful Batman run you're doing, and the Penguin's picking up Emmys and awards every month. Let's stop that because I want my Batman out there. No one's taking you seriously if you think like that. Just really. That's just not how this works. It does not work like that. The shareholders know every time. Now they know after the original Matt Reeves Batman came out. They know when they drop another one, that's $1 billion just off box office. And all the tie-ins they're going to have, the marketing tie-ins. You're going to get the Penguin back in there to capitalize on the streaming show. You don't stop that for something petty. Now, as far as what Reeves is going through personally, people just need to stop speculating on that. But I'll tell you right now for sure, and I haven't really been saying this for a year, but I've been kind of trying to make it clear. There's no rift between James Gunn and Matt Reeves. Matt Reeves likely can do a trilogy. If the second one goes well, if it goes $1 billion like we think it's going to go, he's going to get his Batman trilogy. Reeves had an original idea for his epic Batman crime saga. He had original idea and he has an ending point. Reeves doesn't want to keep making these. His story doesn't go on like that. He's going to have a finishing point to his story, and then he's going to be doing DCU stuff. He has a first look deal directly with Warner Brothers, and James Gunn and Peter Safran wants him to do DC stuff as well for the DCU. So I'm just saying, it just these unfounding speculations, like it doesn't make sense business wise. I know it's Warner Brothers that we're dealing with, so I get that. You're like, okay, well, when does Warner Brothers make sense, right? So you got me on that one, okay? You got me on that. I don't know, but man, I see it so much. I'm like, bro, I understand, like, if you're a Snyder fan and it so happens, you want Warner Brothers to fail everything they put out. That's all fine and dandy if that's your approach, but let's not make stuff up. Okay, let's just not do that. Again, no one would take the fandom seriously if we're really. And again, I blame more of these anonymous so-called Snyder fan accounts that's been doing this and spreading this. They did this with Black Adam. So, oh, don't support that. I don't care if it's Cavill in that film. And a lot of people just followed that. And for what? Because The Rock's gonna make it all about him. That's probably true. But we would have got that last ride of the Snyderverse along with it. Yeah, The Rock, he would have had a Black Adam sequel where he fights Superman, and it would have been in the contract how many times he could be punched by Cavill. Like it would have all. Yes, The Rock. Yes, The Rock. I think he averages 20 million. As far as per year, just for acting roles that he does, he's among the top tier yearly. That's strictly just based off his acting roles, and he has his other businesses and stuff that he does. So yes, he was going to make it all about him, but then Cavill would have had his own film, and then Zack would have did The Last Ride. Everyone would have got something out of it. But a lot of people allowed anonymous so-called Snyder fan accounts to be, oh no, just be toxic towards it. I don't care if it's Cavill. So that's why I have no respect for some of these accounts to this day. And some of y'all just repeating what they're saying now. Now they're anonymous, so if they look like an idiot, no one would know. No one would know who they are. But it's not helping the fandom at all. It's really not. Anyway, like I said, we're going to address it. We're going to address it all tonight. Let's see. What YouTube doing now? YouTube. We had a couple more likes. Okay. I'm still not satisfied, but shout out to Marcus for that super chat. YouTube, I'm just saying, man. Homeboy was saying, oh, yeah, I miss Coffee Talk. Hey, we got to support these streams when they here, man. We got other options here, all right? we could do this just like a straight members stream. Shout out to the members. I'm going to make sure the members taken care of, but public streams, you got to support them while they're here. I'm just saying. Batman 2, a guaranteed Billy. Oh, yeah, I mean, and that's just me. That's me and my speculation. Yeah, that's the most viable IP DC has. Batman. Yeah, a successful reboot. as far as the numbers they got from that. That was a reboot film. Then you got this award-winning Penguin series. Yeah, this is like a snowball going downhill. That next time it drops, that's going to be $1 billion for sure. Well, I guess pretty close, right? Because I know $1 billion is such an arbitrary number, but it's going to be in that range. Yeah. Everyone would have been happy. We could have moved on together to a new DC. But it is WB, so it's never going to work out. Yeah, the whole thing with Black Adam and what The Rock was doing, we all know how that was going to go. But we was going to get Cavill and Ben with that and everything. And you got so-called Snyder fans out there, anonymous accounts, that's convinced, that would have been justice. Got to hear, man. Killing me with that. People asking about, is there the health concerns? Nah, I'm not. I don't believe. First off, if there is health concerns about Matt Reeves, that's none of our business. But I don't believe that's what's going on with that. But it's definitely some personal issues with Matt Reeves. Not up to us to try to decipher what's going on in his personal life. I think they're out of line. Anyone that's putting out there trying to put out his personal business is out of line. If he's going through something personal, again, Pam Abdy addressed it right here. This is the company line. They consider him a writing, directing auteur in his own right. The film will come when he's written his best Batman script and is ready. Right now, he's not ready. Trying to figure out what's going on in his life. That's the problem. This online stuff, people get too much access to people's personal lives. It's none of our business, first off, what's going on in Matt Reeves' life. It really isn't. The script's not ready. Okay. There's other DC stuff to enjoy. He's going to make the film. Let's see. I think they got another part in here. Shout out to YouTube getting those likes up. I'm just like, bro, I'm just saying, that's how these videos spread on YouTube. And I have other platforms I put my videos on, and that's all good. But definitely, when there's a public stream over here, y'all gotta show your support by, at the very least, smashing the like. Make sure you subscribe, of course. And then definitely support the platform. Become a member. You'll get early access, and you may start getting exclusive live streams at this point. If we don't stay on top of these likes, man, we're trying to give you all this information. We've been doing for 5 years now. So just because it's not saying restore the Snyderverse every video, definitely support the time that's put into the platform. And like I said, I'm going to make sure it goes to those who's supporting it for sure. So let's see what else. All right, so we talked about Superman. We talked about Batman. And that was the main things we wanted to get out of this video or this article. So let's see. Where are we at right now? We got a couple other things we want to touch on, and it really just depends on, again, if the stream is being supported. We'll keep this rolling. Let's see. Appreciate the likes. That's why we do this, man. That's why we do this. Shout out to Twitter. It's the best way to support over there. Sharing the stream, comment under it. Go to the profile page, and there is ways to support the platform that way as well, too. So, still portray Zach, who portrayed himself. You already know. Let's see. let's transition here. Let me address this real quick. I meant to say this earlier, but let me move this out the way. I put online on Twitter, we was talking about Superman and Smurfs, right? Because a lot of talks have been made about, again, July, 3 films, right? The clear 3, potential blockbusters. I mean, DeLuca's trying to push Superman as hard as he can. Get one a little W if he could out of that. But it's about Jurassic World Rebirth, Superman, Fantastic Four, right? I'll probably pull this up every video. But along with those 3 films, we can't forget Smurfs comes out Superman's second weekend. And so I put it out there on Twitter. I said, yo, like, there's a scenario. There's a scenario where Jurassic World obviously comes out, crushes it. I think it can do like 120 plus. And I think it can have a pretty good hold its second weekend. Meaning, if Jurassic World gets 120 domestically, first weekend, let's say it has a 50% drop or so. So 55 to 60 million second weekend for Jurassic World. Can Superman beat that his first weekend? I feel Superman could likely have an opening like Captain America Brave New World, which I think was 80 million. Have the critical boost, if that is one, but also the audience score to sustain Superman. And that basically would be a film that's, let's see, if I'm just going to kind of guesstimate, let's say if Superman opens up like Brave New World, 80 million domestically, 150 worldwide. The second week will probably add another 70 to 80 million. You're looking at globally 250 to 300 million for 2 weeks. And then Fantastic Four is going to hit. Then how much money can Superman really make? That's why I put it from 550 to 600 as far as with Superman. But the thing was smart, and that's me saying, okay, I think, again, because the more I think about the numbers on this, I think Superman will put up a really good fight against Jurassic Worlds, which will be their second week. I think Superman can get 80. I really do believe he can get 80 as opening weekend. Second weekend, you're talking about 30 to 35 for Superman. What will Smurfs open up at? So it'll be Superman's second week, Smurfs opening week. You got Rihanna attached to it. And so someone showed me what Grok was saying on Twitter, which is the AI search. It says as far as what's more famous, Smurfs or Superman? And at first I was like, I'm not even going to entertain this argument, what's going to do better. Superman's obviously more popular than Smurfs. Come on. They say web data shows Smurfs has sustained global merchandising success with 400 figurine types produced and ongoing licensing deals, like the 2020 Viacom CBS partnership, indicating a broader cultural footprint than Superman in some markets. So I'm like, wait a minute, what are we doing here? Are we saying Smurfs is more popular than Superman? Well, again, the main thing is that it's not to just totally dismiss Smurfs. That's what should be learned from this. Some of their best openings, I believe they had, they had a 30 million opening. Let me see. 35 million. That was a film about 14 years ago. So it's been a downward trend for Smurfs films. But at its best, 35 million was their best opening, right? The more I kind of slept on this, right? Because at first I was like, hold on. I was like, I ain't worried about Smurfs, because I'm going to ride with DC. I mean, come on now. The more I think about it, I think Superman's going to do pretty well this opening weekend. despite Jurassic World. I think Superman, like I said, Brave New World. That's the template. Brave New World, but with a better audience score, can probably do something. Brave New World made under 500 million, but it didn't have a good audience score. If Superman has a good audience score, then I think that's what I'm saying. You get into the 600 range. But again, opening weekend, I think will hold. I think Superman was actually going to do okay. Opening weekend. And then against Smurfs, I think it could take out Smurfs. I entertained that. But let's see. Marcus put Smurfs 2011 had 35 million. That's their best opening. As far as what you saw, Marcus. Okay, you put it down there. 17 million. Yeah, so you're talking about, if you're just guesstimating, you're talking about between 15 to 25 million is probably what the long-term forecast would be for Smurfs. Because Rihanna would help it for a good little boost. Superman's second week, I think, easily clears 30 million. Yeah, so I think Superman actually has a chance. And then again, audience score. That's the main thing. Again, we're talking just about the factors, not about, hey, I want Warner Bros. To fail. I hate James Gunn. I get all that. When we're talking about box office, we're just talking numbers and forecasts and everything that goes into that formula. I think Superman will put up a good fight, get 2 good weekends. Then the Fantastic Four bomb will come. And the only thing that will save Superman is the audience score. That's why I bring up Brave New World, because they actually had a good opening. But then audience score had a terrible second weekend, Brave New World. And then it just withered away after that. It did decent, but it wasn't a great performer. So we'll see. Does Superman have that same fate? We'll see. That's going to be really entertaining. But just according to Gronk, Smurfs is out here in these streets. That's crazy. You'd be surprised the stuff we see with that. Okay. Let's catch up with the chat here. Everybody said F Gronk, right? Let's see. How's YouTube looking now? Okay, a few more likes. Okay. Respectable. I'm just saying. Now I know this was a pop-up stream, so I know a lot of people weren't probably expecting the stream, but we gotta. I'll announce it further in advance because definitely we gotta have that. We gotta have that interaction over here on YouTube for sure. So, Tom Cruise Mission Impossible. That comes out in what, May, right? So that really doesn't affect the Superman conversation. Let me see. Mission Impossible, yeah, end of May. So Tom Cruise, he wants that Memorial Day week, Memorial Day weekend, and just that holiday week performance. Mission Impossible 7 was okay. I really did I expected more. I'm talking about just more enjoyment of Mission Impossible 7. And I think, like I said, it made about 500 million. Not great when you compare at that time. Tom Cruise was coming off of Top Gun Maverick, a nearly perfect film. Top Gun Maverick, over $1 billion. The theaters was back, Tom Cruise declared. The Mission Impossible 7 dropped. It wasn't. It was a mid film, in my opinion. Mission Impossible 8. We'll see. All right. Let's see what they got. But that'll be in May. That'll have his run. yeah, it'll have its runway to make its money, whatever it makes. So yeah, we'll see. Could Superman do BVS open weekend numbers? Not a chance in Hades. BVS did 166 opening. Now keep this in mind here. This is what's so funny about. Oh man, this was so funny about just the narratives and things online, right? Superman, like I said, Superman, I'm thinking half of what BVS did. BVS opened up 166 million domestically, over 400 million globally. Opening weekend, but had bad critical score, bad audience score. Minecraft, again, BVS 166, 400 global. Minecraft 130, 300 global. And Minecraft is being celebrated like some phenomenon. What's the difference? Perception and audience score. That's one thing. Though BVS is my favorite CBM film ever. I rewatched it again recently. I watched it hundreds of times probably by now. It's my favorite. Just it has my favorite moments ever in CBM history, especially the third act. The third act. Well, you have Batman versus Superman. You have Doomsday. You have the Wonder Woman entrance, the Batman warehouse scene, the death of Superman. You have everything. And if you want to count right before that, you had the Justice League introduction. Greatest CBM film ever. But the perception, the audience score wasn't what it needed to be. That was $1 billion film. But again, critics is one thing. I don't think critics really determine success, but audience scores matters. It does. The audience scores do matter, and that's your word of mouth. When BVS came out, I mean, it was friends of my family who's not all into films and every week, and they know a little bit about the popular Marvel stuff. And they was like, "Oh yeah, I heard that Batman vs Superman is trash." I was thinking, like, man, like y'all better go see that movie, But it's that word of mouth got to the general audience that it wasn't hidden. But it made over 400 million opening weekend globally. We're celebrating Minecraft, and Barbie did less than BVS opening weekend domestic and globally. It's all about perception, y'all. That's what it's all about. And again, audience scores do matter. Do matter. But yeah, Superman, no. First, Superman ain't gonna do Minecraft numbers, so it definitely ain't gonna do BVS numbers. Marcus says early consensus. Superman estimated 600 to 700. 700 is really high. Like again, if you're going off of the, when Superman comes out and what it needs to do, I mean, to get 700 million, Superman would need like $100 million opening. And hey, if the buzz gets to that point, we'll see. Superman Day is in 1 week from now. We'll see if that latest trailer gets the buzz. But this not feeling like $100 million opening, but we'll see. We'll definitely see. Yeah. Let's see. Oh, ASAP says, my conclusion has always been if Joker 2 couldn't make $1 billion again, I don't see Superman by James Gunn could do any different personally. DC without Snyder and Reeves at this point sucks. Joker 2, Todd Phillips, he had some kind of agenda with Joker 2. I thought the film was okay. I thought Joker 2 was okay, but Todd Phillips, I just think sometimes in this industry, you got to play ball a little bit. So Todd Phillips didn't play ball. He didn't test the film, which he should have. I think if Todd Phillips would have tested the Joker 2 film, then people would have said, you probably want the audience kind of liked the Arthur Fleck in part 1. Maybe you didn't want them to like the character, but it resonated at that time. And you're doing a sequel to a character that people grew to like in that first film. Probably lean into that more. I was okay. Again, when you're talking about trying to sell something, I was okay what Todd Phillips did in Joker 2, but he didn't give the audience what they wanted. That's what this is all about. It's even like with content. If I come on this channel and every stream I do is saying, "Oh, let's do a report of Marvel," and let's talk about Marvel every single stream that I come out with, this channel, the viewership would nosedive because people, according to YouTube algorithm, y'all don't come to my channel to talk Marvel. I could try to force that in, but you're not giving the people what they're clicking on the video for or coming to this channel for. So just Joker 2, I think Todd Phillips, he just really didn't care what the audience wanted, and it's hard to sell business-wise. It's hard to make money if you are middle fingering the people that like the first film. I like the artistic expression, but I knew the masses would not like that. You know what I'm saying? I still like Joker 2. Would have been fine if we got a Black Label movie with another DC character instead of a Joker sequel. Yeah, and Phillips, I mean, he was going to do Clayface, he did the Two-Face origin in Joker 2 in that courtroom. Instead of the acid being thrown on Harvey Dent, it was the explosion. So I was like, I would have loved to see, what he would have done with that character, or just producing it and someone else directed and write it for Two-Face. But yeah, wasn't meant to be. Like Marcus said, yeah, Lana Wachowski, yeah, it was just like, oh, you like this? Throw it on his head. It's like, hard to do business with you when you just flipping stuff on his head. All right, let's we got more that we're doing. This is going to be a potentially pretty long stream here. Let's see, the likes got better on YouTube, so yeah, the show must go on. We're gonna catch up with the chat, and then we got more to hit y'all with. Let's stay in the fandom, so just let's get comfortable. Let's see. Let's catch up with the chat, and then I got a couple of things to hit y'all with, and then we still didn't talk about this UFC film, Brawler. All right. Let's see. Let's pull up some comments here. Let's see what we got. Much love to Sil Nation. Again, smash the like. Make sure you still subscribe. We're back to doing weekly streams. We're going to be doing weekly streams again. Announced in advance. Members, content, etc. I got y'all. All right, let's see. All right, so I still like Joker 2. Would have been fine if we got a Black Label. Oh, yeah, I already read that. Yeah. I read that. James Gunn movies usually run out of steam at $800 million mark. I mean, I'm not sure what you're basing it off of, but Guardians 3 got over 900 million, right? And they got, I think, pretty strong international push as well. like I said, James Gunn, he has his formula. Yeah, like I said, I have an idea again what this film's going to be. So I have a feeling how I'm going to feel about it. But that is what it is. It's about the audience score, man. That's what it's going to be about. Giving the fans what we want is the latter, so it can go both ways, unfortunately. Yeah. I mean, we'll see. And this is the thing. And I know this is going to be an uncomfortable thing for people to again hear because of the core of my channel and obviously the films that I like personally as well. I can accept BVS. Again, I just told y'all the numbers. It did 166 domestic, over 400 million globally opening weekend. But it had the critical score was bad, but the audience score was bad. And so to say, give the people what they want, I mean, if the word of mouth wasn't what it needed to be, and BVS was ahead of its time. If they would have just relaxed, and just let Zack finish that Snyder cut, Zack Snyder's Justice League, do the 214 cut. It would have been 100 times better than what they did with Justice, forcing Zack off the film. A compromised Zack Justice League film would have done $1 billion. I believe that. Because how much are you really going to compromise Zack Snyder? He was filming 2 films at one time. He was doing the 4-hour cut, and then he was doing the compromise cut at the same time. Not saying we want Zack Snyder to be compromised. What I'm saying is that even that version, would have killed it. And I don't think he would have, he wouldn't have done any dumb jokes or anything. They just probably would have made him do some pickup shots that he wasn't thinking about doing. But to sell DC at that time, I mean, if he wasn't Marvel, the critics was going to badmouth it, and they did. But the audience score was what it was, and I accept that. I accept that was the fate of that film. That was sacrificed to the CBM gods, BVS. It's the greatest CBM film I've ever seen overall. But that's the reality of it, man. What's your favorite CBM trilogy? Oh, for sure. Yeah. Yeah. Man of Steel, greatest Superman film ever. I always talk about. I will never forget opening day. I went to see Man of Steel opening day midday, so the theaters was empty, and just that Krypton sequence. I was just like, "Yo, this! I've never seen Superman like this before." And like I said, BVS, I can't praise that enough. ZSJL. I haven't met one. I'm serious when I say this. Everyone likes Zack Snyder's Justice League. Like, if you're into that genre, if you're a hater, whatever, everyone likes Zack Snyder's Justice League. So, I mean, that's a trilogy so far. But like a 3-run, I mean, it's better than Nolan's 3-run films. No shade on Nolan. And obviously, if Heath Ledger, if he didn't pass away tragically, Dark Knight Rises would have came out better. But hey, just based off what's out there, I give it to Zack. Guardians 3, 845, so close to 900. Yeah, BVS. I mean, it would have got $1 billion if there's a couple of things. Definitely the 30 minutes. I think most people's criticisms was solved by the Ultimate Cut, the Ultimate Edition. And then you did have just other people that just had story issues even with the Ultimate Edition. But I think the 30 minutes would have helped. and then just for some reason, they got cut short in China for some reason. I did that original stream. I did the original. I put out the numbers about what happened with China. This was like 4 years ago. And I compared it to other DC releases. And I was like, something ain't right here. Why did they cut BVS short? You know? So that was early in my content creating career about that China situation. But now with China, oh yeah, that's just a good segue. Because I'm going to talk about China. Clark doing more investigating, reporting in the Ultimate Edition. Why would you cut that out? Well, I'm assuming that's a rhetorical question, but why'd they cut it out? Warner Bros. Wanted more screenings, for the film. So if the film was too long, they was like, oh, less screenings, less money. But that's not that. They should have just did the Ultimate Edition. Because like I said, half the criticism would have been cut out. Would the audience score have been better? Maybe. And then you would have standed to have, a better performance overall. But, that's the what if. That's a great what if. So speaking of China, now, first off, I do want to make this very clear on my platform. My platform has never been political. I don't need you to be political in the comments. I'm going to have various opinions on my platform. I had people who didn't even like Zack Snyder, and they was on the platform. Yeah, I got you, Amari. I know what you mean. Yeah. So, I'm just saying, I don't want to hear you like this politician, you don't like this politician, this president, this country. I'm a Black American. So I do have high regards of the country I'm in. If you don't like this country, I don't know what to tell you. I don't really care, to be quite honest, but I want to stick to the facts. I'm here to talk about film and entertainment, not your personal political preference. I don't want to hear if a particular candidate upsets you. I'm not asking you, okay? And I'm only saying this because sometimes sometimes like I had other videos and just like Trump was mentioned in one of the videos before, and it wasn't even about getting you to vote either way or whatever. And people felt like they had to explain to me why they don't like Trump. I really don't care, bro. My thing is, I'm for the country that I'm at. The election is over. It's best to move on, and talk about stuff that definitely does affect you. But I really don't want to hear about what you don't like about this country or this president or whatever. Just saying. Do my disclaimer and let's go forward. And I do not hate China. I do not. Just saying. So a lot of people was like, oh man, China's going to pull the films. Now, we keeping it this state of the fandom, right? So we're going to keep it real, right? Y'all know I see what's going on, okay? Some of y'all that was jumping on this China story. Now, that's why I said, when you want to carry the baton for this fandom, be factual, or you disqualify yourself. Obviously, if you want Warner Bros. To fail and you want this Superman to fail, you low-key applauded China potentially not showing Superman in China, right? Look, can we keep it real? Can we keep it real? If you're a part of a group that you want Warner Bros. To fail, you want Superman to fail, you low-key smiled when you heard China may not show that film over there. Just keep it a buck. Keep it a buck, all right? So I knew that was going to come up to people. So I was like, I'm just going to put it out there. Again, it's about the facts. It's not about, oh, I want this to, succeed or fail or whatever. It's just, no, these are the numbers. Whatever it does, that's what I'm going to talk about. Whatever the numbers do. Over the past, I guess, several years, China has been less and less significant for the overall box office performance for these films. It is true. Number one in the world box office is the United States of America. This is the number one gate in the world. You succeed here, you get about 300 million over here in the States. You walking away with a pretty good performance worldwide, right? If you get 400, oh man, you're probably $1 billion film worldwide. So it starts here. Number two in the world, yes, is China. And they've had moments where they did over 300 million for Aquaman. That was a big reason why Aquaman even, that was the main reason they got over $1 billion, because it did 300 in China alone. But that's rare, and that's what people didn't understand with China. You got Minecraft. I tweeted this out, but I'll repeat it. Minecraft. What, 300 global opening. 130 of that was over here in the States of 300. So it's almost half, right? In China, they did about 15 million. Now, this is a global phenomenon, Minecraft. Less than 5% came from China? Is that an anomaly? No, you go to the recent $1 billion performances. Moana 2 was with Disney, and Inside Out sequel. Both of those films did $1 billion globally. Less than 10% of that came from China. So what it does show, it shows you a couple things here. First of all, this is probably just my personal thing I'm going to say here, but I rather, if we're making films like this that starts here in the States, I'd rather us make films about like our culture here, and that's in that film. And then if other countries are rocking with it, that's cool. And when I say our culture, I'm saying just American culture, and that could be those who's migrated over and became citizens and they want their culture, over here. Just American culture, no matter the background. Let's not try to cater to other countries' entertainment. If you're going to rock with it, you're going to rock with it. That's how I feel. So that tells us one thing, that we can make films over here and it still can perform worldwide, no matter, whatever country rocks with it. And then the second thing is that, we don't have to rely on China to have $1 billion films. So when this, and I tweeted about this before this article came out yesterday or whatever. So they asked Trump about China reducing U.S. movies because of this whole tariff situation. Now, I will say right now, shout out to all the Nintendo Switch 2 people out there. I got some in my family. They are really upset with Trump over this tariff thing because they want their Nintendo Switch 2. Okay. I may get a Nintendo Switch 2 just because of this, man. I'm with y'all. I'm gonna start doing some gaming. This is serious. Probably by the end of this year, I gotta get my setup together. I got my little, I don't know if you call this a studio or something. So we're putting stuff together in here. We're gonna be doing some gaming. So I'm gonna be doing Nintendo Switch gaming over here as well too. But so I definitely shout out to y'all. Y'all dealing with a lot with the Nintendo Switch not releasing because of the tariffs. But yeah, so when Trump said this, this ain't no big deal. He was like, oh, Superman's gonna suffer so much from this. Well, no, it's not. It's really not. That's really the main thing. I wanted to say with that. But again, you got to know the machine. If you're raging against the machine, you got to understand what's under the hood. You know, when we talked about with stocks and stuff like that, and the truth about China box office, you know, if you're gonna carry that baton, have your facts, right? Because people looking at, you know, the antis, everyone, they're looking at every single tweet that we put out there. Because they did that to me. And if I was truly wrong one time, I would have been canceled. You see what I'm saying? So that's just all I'm saying. And there's other factors to that, of course. But I'm just saying, let's be factual. China ain't going to determine much with the box office here. All right. Let's see. How are we looking? Let's see. Okay, we're still getting likes on YouTube. So, okay, we'll keep it going. Let's see. Which horror movie are you most hyped for in the future? Final Destination Bloodlines for you. I know what you did last. Oh, you're saying okay. You're saying those three. I know what you did last summer in Scream 7. I mean, I was a fan of the Scream films. I think Scream 5. They tried to do the whole Disney Star Wars take on it, so I didn't really enjoy some of the decisions in that. Scream 6 is almost like they was like, we're running out of ideas. Like, how can we get real zany with this? So 7 though, and since I guess they're trying to go back to the whole Sydney. So I am interested in Scream 7. That's probably my angle with that. So. McFarlane Toys got the Alfred figurine. Best Alfred ever? Question mark. How many people gonna cop this Alfred figurine? Pre-order that Alfred. Best Alfred Batman combo ever. It's just the dialogue in those films, man. It's just another level of just filmmaking with these films, man. Now, speaking of that, the Batman to that Alfred, there's a new film coming out from that Batman. And shout out to Chris Terrio for sure. The Accountant Part 2, it comes out at the end of this month. We got a little, little video they put on Twitter about it. Let me get the audio together.
Don't fall behind. The Accountant is now streaming on Prime Video just in time to prepare for The Accountant 2.
Wait until you see how exciting our new film is.
In cinemas April 25th. Okay, well, The Accountant is a story about two brothers. One is an accountant and a great guy.
Yep.
And the other one is an
Is
assassin.
also a great guy.
Well, he's a paid killer.
Well, yes, that's true.
They had a tough upbringing
did,
with their
they
dad
did,
who
yeah.
taught them to fight and to be kind of militaristic. I was the older brother, but also had struggles socially.
Your son has more in common with Einstein or Picasso than he does with us.
And that really fell on me to help the older brother.
J.K. Simmons' character and Christian develop a sort of respect for one another.
Why he let me live, I didn't know. But he changed my life.
And then in the second movie, they discover J.K.'s character is killed.
Great King has been murdered. I need your help to finish the job he started.
So Big Brother's like, hey, you could be helpful here.
Are you ready? Yeah.
So how's that?
See how we did that?
Accountant. The Accountant Part 2 coming April 25th. That'll be theatrical through Amazon MGM. Then it'll stream on Prime after that. So let's see. Someone's catching up saying Guardians 3 didn't do over 900. So what's the difference between 850 and 900? That's close enough to 900. Well, actually, day one Superman, Marcus. That was it. Day one Superman. We got it. It's gonna be dope. Yeah, it's gonna be dope. Day one. Oh man. Yeah, Accountant's gonna be dope. I'm actually looking. I need to rewatch that first one since it's on Prime. I'll check it out. Interesting stuff there. So we just wanted to shout that out. That's coming out now. On the heels of that, let's throw up something else here. Since we're talking about that, Batman, he was in BVS. I always talk about, we remember those BVS wars and that Man of Steel wars. You know, now people, again, BVS was ahead of his time. I think Superman, Man of Steel was right where it needed to be. Made over $600 million. The most profitable Superman film ever. They saved hundreds of millions in marketing because Zack Snyder put product placements throughout the Man of Steel film. They definitely made a profit off of Man of Steel. But still, you know, people's like, oh, that's not my Superman. That's Earth 1 Superman. See, that's what I'm saying. It's like, it works both ways. People want to put out there, that's not my Superman, but Zack was pulling from the comics. But now they want to gatekeep. Which comics can you pull from now? Yeah. Man of Steel was great. So you got BVS again. We talked about the audience score, the choice to not put the Ultimate Edition in theaters, pulling it from China early. All those things put together, the film did not have the audience score it needed. And everyone was bashing. All the shields was bashing BVS. I was confused. Like, you know, did we all watch the same film? That's how I felt during that time with BVS. Now, almost 10 years later, now people are like, you know what? We had something with that BVS film. Maybe they treated it too harshly because now you have CBR saying, oh, the 10 most important comic book movies of all time ranked number one, BVS. Am I seeing this right? Like, are they okay saying this out loud? It's like I remember it was this YouTube channel. Maybe some of y'all know of this channel. I can't remember the name of it offhand, but where they was, obviously like everyone was doing back then, hating on BVS and this isn't Batman. And so that was from the comics, Dark Knight Returns. But okay. Like Zach was literally giving you panels from Dark Knight Returns. He recreated the cover of Dark Knight Returns at one point in that film. But people was like, oh, that ain't Batman from the comics. Come on, man. And this was the continuation of his Superman, which was taken from Earth One comics. But anyway, the point. Now people are saying, you know what? BVS was pretty epic. That is what it is. Yogi says, I just love when people said Ben's Batman can't be Batman because he kills, yet their favorite Batman is Keaton. That was like the most hypocritical. I couldn't believe. I'm like, are we reading the same thing? Like, Keaton's the best Batman ever. Ben can never match up to him because Batman, he killed people. What? Keaton was a mass murderer. But then you have, then you got Christian Bale. I won't kill you, but I don't have to save you. Though I did hear people, they were kicking up a little dust over that. But still. How about in the beginning of the Batman Begins, when he torched Ra's al Ghul's home? Like, he purposely burned down his home. like I didn't see Batman saving anybody. I'm just saying. I'm saying it's just a little wild, man. It's just a little wild. After Ultimate Edition, many people came around. Yeah. After the fact, now they're seeing those who were hating so much on BVS and everything. Now they're seeing how people were like, oh, well, they're picking apart this film. They want the Superman film to be great and everything, but people have different opinions. And just because it's based off a comic, that didn't save Zack Snyder. He based plenty of stuff off of comics. That doesn't shield you from criticism. That's all. That's all that means. But Bale was good. He's not. I mean, I put Ben. If we're talking about live action, if we're talking about just Batman overall, Conroy is number one, then Ben, then Keaton. But live action, I guess Keaton would be the third, or Bale would be the third, I guess, if we're doing just live action. Number one, most important I couldn't tell all these years. This was the most important film. That's wild. Definitely RP Val Kilmer. Release that Schumacher cut. What are we waiting on, Warner Brothers? Shout out to the Schumacher Cut account. Release Schumacher Cut. They've been holding it down. They have been real supportive of Snyder related campaigns as well. So shout out to them. Bell, Affleck, Keaton. Yeah, Colin Farrell. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That beginning, I'm just saying, Batman Begins. He murked like an entire group. Like, didn't he? I'm just saying. They mad Batman was, Batfleck was trying to save Martha, so he destroyed that warehouse. He didn't kill. I don't think he killed anybody in that one. But Bale, he just torched the whole home. They weren't even threatening his life. He was just saying, yo, they were just like, yo, we're going to destroy Gotham. And Bale was like, well, I guess I got to destroy y'all. That's how I'm going to stop this. Just saying. But they mad at Batfleck. Amazing. Let's see. Let's catch up. Rewatched Batman Forever. Which can replay Batman and Batman and Robin instead of Clooney. No Clooney love? You put Val over Bale? Maria's not going to like that. We got Ben, Bell, Keaton. I mean, Keaton is that's like, Reeves. You know what I'm saying? Like the originator. Is a Schumacher cut just on a hard drive somewhere? WB has nothing to lose by releasing it, especially now. Yeah, supposedly it's just a cut. It's just sitting in the vaults. Schumacher cut just sitting in the vaults. What are they waiting on? They just do a Blu-ray release. Make some change. You can make it a digital release. No Patterson love. I noticed that, Maria. That's all cap, right? No love for Patterson. No one got Patterson in their top 3 at all. I mean, he's not in my top 3. He's definitely not. He's the absolute last. Whatever list y'all want to have, I'm going to start from the bottom. I'll say Patterson last. then I'll go back up to the top and name the ones I like. That's definitely floor level Batman to me. Pattinson. Let's see. Oh, amazing. Ain't nobody spoke up about Patterson yet. I was giving the Patterson fans a minute. This is a hot topic, but to me, Patterson plays Batman like Batman Beyond. I mean, I guess I would accept it if he wasn't Bruce Wayne. So yeah, I'll give you. So that works for me in my head canon that Patterson's not even Bruce Wayne. That'll be the replay crew. They'll come back and be mad about Patterson. the I just made up with Reeves fans. Like they was hating me since 2022. Now for the Penguin series, they saw I eased up on Reeves a little bit, so now we're back down again. Now we're saying Clooney's better than Pattinson. Oh man. Like no one's taking up for Pattinson, man. This is tough. This is tough, man. Man, nobody. I was giving Pattinson fans just a minute, but there's probably some of my silent watchers. They will raise it up in the replay comment section. It's all good. All right, but like we said, people have caught up to the greatness of BVS, but you still have people. While some catch up, some are still stuck in the past. Still stuck in the past of not understanding Zack Snyder's films and what happened. Not to point out this user, but it's just there. The scene where Jonathan Kidd, Kevin Costner said that, he stops his son. He stops Clark from saving him. He didn't want Clark to reveal his powers. When that tornado was coming, Clark was helping people, but he wasn't using his speed. He could have sped right out there and saved Jonathan. And Kevin Costner put that hand up and said, no. Clark knew what that meant. A lot of people walked away from Man of Steel confused. As this person says here, that scene never really made sense. Why didn't Superman save his dad? Amazing, because the very next scene, like Clark is explaining this to Lois. So the very next scene, he's finishing his story. He's telling Lois this story, how his father passed away and the reason why. Ultimately, the world was not ready. So to walk away and say, this don't make sense. Why? What Zach told you the why. Now, that's the difference. Like, you could just not like the choice. Like, why would his dad, I don't like that his dad decided that. But again, Clark explained. So that was a creative choice that a lot of people still hurt over. That it has to be explained. If you just watch the film, it kind of explains itself. I found it funny with BVS where there's all these questions. Why did Lex do this? Why did he do that? Again, the Ultimate Edition explained a lot, cleared up, I think, a lot for people in BVS. But things still just had to be explained to them. Now you got these same people today with Corn Sweat Superman. People are like, why is the sun hurting Superman? I don't remember seeing that in the comics. I actually don't. I mean, people, the ones that's getting upset at people being critical. People have been critical about Zack's films, for forever. So James Gunn finally has a film where people are a little critical over because it's DC, it's Superman. You do a Superman or Batman film, there's gonna be a lot of critics. Get used to it. The Kents will never know peace again if Clark went out, helped him at that moment. Exactly. That's why all Jonathan had to do was look at Clark and put his hand up, because Clark knew the family stance on this. So even if it cost Jonathan his life, he's like, no, like, we do not want to expose you. That's the point. I don't understand choices. Why did Lex do anything? I thought the opening movie made it pretty clear. Lex is probably the most straightforward character ever in BVS. I mean, yeah, at first, you didn't know if he knew, Bruce's identity, but then it shows you in the film, hey, he says it himself. I was sending him letters. like Lex monologues. If you missed anything in BVS, Lex monologue on the roof at the end, when he shows him the pictures of Martha and all that stuff, he monologues everything. Like, if you missed this earlier, this is what I did. You let your family die. Like, people walking away, well, why did this happen? Did you miss that scene? Oh my goodness, man. Don't be a cultist. Hey, people dead serious. They're like, I don't get it. But now these same people are like, duh, Superman gets hurt by the sun. I don't remember no comic books where Superman is hurt by the sun when he's healing. Like, they're saying, you saw like the logics people are using with Corn Sweat Superman. Well, his bones are being put back together and that's going to hurt and stuff like that. Hey, that wasn't explained, buddy. There's no comic that says that. I'm just saying. I mean, the part with Lex makes sense, but these Corn Sweat Superman explanations, I don't know where that's coming from. Yo, Vic, I don't remember no comics where that happened. So y'all made that one up. I'm just saying, bro. They got me messed up with that one. It's almost like in movies, characters should make choices. Hey, man. But it's not comic accurate, okay? Oh, man. So it's just kind of ironic, like in the middle of people being upset about people being critical of Corn Sweat Superman. Again, this tweet was from what? Yesterday. They still like, man, I still don't understand why he didn't save his dad, but the son could hurt Superman. I understand that. It's like, well, bro, y'all doing too much, man. Y'all doing too much. Oh my goodness. All right, we got one more thing. We're gonna I guess one more thing. Everyone talks about Zack Snyder's The Blueprint, right? Christopher Nolan even said this. Now you got the great James Cameron.
Which it's cut on new and innovative things that can come from people who were never going to get the types of budgets that a mature filmmaker gets today.
Exactly.
But they have.
And it's getting worse.
It's getting worse, not getting better.
Yeah.
But they have a great idea.
Yeah.
And of course, they were inspired by people who came before them.
Yeah.
And they want to pay homage to that. But like, it's a new idea. but they can't do it without these tools. Like they don't have the ability.
I think we should discourage the text prompt that says in the style of James Cameron or in the style of Zack Snyder or in the style of, like, make up your own style. You know, that makes me a little bit queasy, but on the other hand, it's kind of cool to have it in the style of as part of a text prompt.
Part of your own. I aspire to someday have and in the style of.
Well, I've aspired to be in the style of Ridley Scott, in the style of Stanley Kubrick. It's like that's my text prompt that runs in my head,
right,
as a filmmaker. You know, in the style of George Miller.
All right, so like James Cameron, as he said right here, and reiterating that, as Christopher Nolan has said, every CBM of our generation and probably the previous, well, especially our generation, is influenced by Zack Snyder. Yes, even James Gunn Superman, he's going to have influences of Man of Steel in it, whether people like it or not. But Cameron is saying, yo, as far as blueprints, like Christopher Nolan, he is a blueprint. James Cameron, he's a blueprint. And he's putting Zack Snyder, and Ridley Scott, of course, is a blueprint. He's putting Zack Snyder among that round table.
We're never going to get the types of budgets that a mature filmmaker gets today.
Exactly.
But they have.
And it's getting worse.
It's getting worse, not getting better.
Yeah.
But they have a great idea.
Yeah.
And of course, they were inspired by people who came before them.
Yeah.
And they want to pay homage to that. But like, it's a new idea. But they can't do it without these tools. Like they don't have the ability.
I think we should discourage the text prompt that says in the style of James Cameron or in the style of Zack Snyder or in the style of, like, make up your own style. You know, that makes me a little bit queasy, but on the other hand, it's kind of cool to have it in the style of as part of a text prompt.
Part of your own. I aspire to someday have and in the style of.
I've aspired to be in the style of Ridley Scott.
So, like I said, it's levels to this. All right, that's what we learned from that. There's levels to this. So, people just gotta accept Zack Snyder, his status in filmmaking amongst his peers, because that's what really it comes down to. It's amongst your peers. Like when I started doing content, if other Snyder fans wasn't rocking with what I was doing, then no credibility, right? Zack Snyder's peers are saying, yo, no, Zack is one of them ones. Zack Snyder. So some rando on social media can't tell me anything different, right? So that is what it is. That's what it is with that. Your top 5: Nolan, Snyder, Cameron, Lucas, Tarantino. That's not a bad list. Not a bad list. I like Denis Villeneuve. I like him if I'm doing a top 5. I mean, I like Todd Phillips. I know a lot of people didn't like his Joker too, but he would be up there for me as well too. And a lot of people put Spielberg, but no, definitely. And Zack, like I said, Zack Snyder is up there for sure. Especially the visual storyteller. Zack is probably the best. Nolan, I like him. He has some of the best edited films. Christopher Nolan, he doesn't waste scenes. That's what I really like about Nolan. If you watch one of, especially his films, like since like Inception to now. Well, actually, let me see. Yeah, even Batman Begins has some tight cuts. So definitely, Nolan, man. Well, Adrian said I'm going great. Oh yeah, I mean, it comes out a little bit now. As you get older. But yeah, Nolan definitely has the tight edits for sure. Interesting. Let's see. The final thing I think we're gonna do. So we've been hanging for a good minute here. Appreciate those on YouTube hanging in there. We're also on X Twitter while we're live. Oh, Singleton. I like that. Yeah, I like Singleton. That's a good one right there. I still can't believe he did a Fast and Furious film. That definitely was one of my favorite ones. Like Too Fast, Too Furious. Yeah, that's interesting. One more thing we're gonna throw up here. Now, first off, I talked about this. Oh shoot, we gotta talk about the brawler. Before we close out, this is the title of the video. Yeah, brawler. We talked about everything except this. Let's see. Nolan, Snyder, Tarantino, Carpenter's a good one. Cameron, movie genius for sure. I know it's clickbait like heck, right? Like, oh my god, forgot about this. Let's talk about this brawler. Yeah, this is announced. I think it was like last week. Just didn't get a chance to go live on it. You got Zack Snyder, you got Dana White, you got Turkey Al-Sheikh. Remember that name. Remember it. Turkey Al-Sheikh. Because when it comes down to it, it's about if your end game is Zack Snyder doing more DC, Zack Snyder with creative freedom. There's multiple lanes. Obviously, restore the Snyderverse when I was the most active. It was about just let's bring everybody back to Warner Brothers, right? Simple enough. DeLuca and Abdy was going to do it. We know what happened with that. So then the call for third party was, I'm not going to say that picked up the baton, but it expanded people's minds saying, okay, if it doesn't happen with Warner Brothers, let's do it through a third party, right? And so that definitely expanded the conversation, but we're still in the same state right now, whereas, okay, will Zack Snyder do DC again? So one way, and I'm sure Warner Brothers would look at this, or any third party, is who's going to fund these films? Funding. Meet Turkey Al-Sheikh, His Excellency. He wrote this whole letter about Zack Snyder as well. Let's bring this up here. Where are we at? Imagine a brawler similar to the likes of the Rocky franchise, but UFC edition. I'd definitely be down with that. That's I was thinking of that Warrior film. Warrior with Tom Hardy. That's serious business right there. And I think that's the version, I think that's what Zack's going to do. To a version of that film. Give him some love to Terry Gilliam, for sure. Let's see. Are we able to read this? Yeah. Some other Terry Gilliam. Guy Ritchie. See, we got some real cinephiles. People forget with Seal Nation. They, obviously, yeah, Zack Snyder's the core, but we got some real movie, viewers here, cinephiles. That's what I'm talking about. I say, and I'll get to, well, I guess I'll say it now because people are wondering, okay, early rumors was They wanted to get Adam Driver to star in this film. And then the synopsis of the film is, oh, it's an up and coming fighter. And can, Adam Driver, he's not a young up and coming person. It's acting, folks. That was a real report that they were looking at Adam Driver. He can pass as a younger person. I mean, I don't see that they've actually cast him, but that was a name that came up there. I say get Tom Hardy. Get Tom Hardy. He was in that Warrior film. Throw him in Brawler. Ooh, Corn Sweat. Zack should get Corn Sweat. Yeah, he beefed up, right? Corn Sweat. You want to riot, Carlos? You want a riot out there? How dare you? Oh man. So as Turkey Al-Sheikh says here, acclaimed filmmaker Zack Snyder, known for his groundbreaking approach, meticulous detail, captivating style, and humanized portrayal of his characters, has partnered with UFC, the world's premier mixed martial arts organization, and Turkey Al-Sheikh. Hey, do you understand the money we dealing with? This man is announced as the Excellency Turkey Al-Sheikh, and Turkey Al-Sheikh, to create the film Brawler. Snyder will direct the film and serve as a writer alongside writers and executive producer Shay Haddon, who did Rebel Moon and Ballerina. Looking forward to that. Kurt Johnstad, who's a part of 300, Rebel Moon. Deborah Snyder, Wesley Collar will produce through Stone Quarry with Al-Sheikh and UFC Chief Content Officer Craig Borsari also serving as executive producers. So these are the funders. This is the funding. This is a partnership. And it is sounding like they do want to do multiple projects. So that's the first thing I want to kind of throw out there to y'all. Again, they want for Brawler, and when they actually come out with the film, it'll probably be like UFC's Brawler or something like that. UFC's name will be all over this. And so they want to sell this. So they do want like a somewhat known actor. Like you're not going to get like a David Cornsweat, to be quite honest, for this. You want, just someone that has some kind of stock out here as an actor. I just hope they go for the more physicality of whoever this would be. So I wouldn't pick Adam Driver, but we'll see with that. It says, behind every great fighter is a story of how they got there, says Zack Snyder. UFC is the world leader in combat sports, and I'm honored to be partnered with them to tell this incredible story. And again, I'm expecting multiple projects. Obviously, this will be theatrical. It's always been planned to be theatrical. They just need a studio to partner with them to distribute this film. Early studios I've been hearing was Lionsgate, Universal, and yes, even Warner Brothers. If Warner Brothers is smart, they will jump in and distribute this film, in my opinion. But this partnership, though, is starting off with this film. Again, I'm expecting multiple projects. Not sure if that means streaming. I'm not sure. But I'm expecting multiple projects. All right. So we'll see. We'll see what happens with that. Let's continue. Turkey Al-Sheikh, chairman of the General Entertainment Authority of Saudi Arabia and the owner of the Ring magazine, says I've been a fan of Zack's work for years. His unique style, from his iconic action sequences to his sweeping visuals and intensely emotional storytelling, coupled with his humanized portrayal of deeply flawed characters, is singular. Couldn't think of a better person to partner with to bring the UFC to the big screen. Big screen. Yes, yes. And like I said, shout out, obviously, we take Zack Snyder's content wherever you're going to give it to us, right? But Zack Snyder's, his style belongs on the big screen. Okay. Let's not even front. Shout out to Paul for the super chat. Shout out to YouTube. I had to wake y'all up a little bit over there, YouTube. I know I've been taking my breaks. The break's over. The break's over. Shout out to Paul. The $10 super chat says, I like Snyder. I also like Gunn's Guardians. Gunn's DC has just been okay to me. But since I've liked all the Superman movies except 3 and 4, I will give it a chance. Also, who has best VFX? Warner Brothers or Disney? I guess you're saying either or. First off, again, appreciate you, Paul. The channel is monetized again, so definitely appreciate the support. Via Super Chats or Stream Elements link is in the description as well. Become a member, only $1.99. It'll be exclusive first look videos, reports, etc. Good stuff. So you like Snyder, but you also like Gunn's Guardian. It's okay. You're in a safe place, Paul. Yes, there are some, who may be squarely on one side of the, of Gunn or Snyder, and that's fine. Then Guardians 1, which is more of a team effort. Gunn put his director style on it, but Nicole Perlman was a big part of the writing for that and the research of the Guardians characters. And then you had that Marvel formula, that flavor. So it was a good mixture. Guardians 1, wasn't a fan of Guardians 2 at all. It lost me pretty early. Guardians 3, I think, was the best film James Gunn has put together. I just watched it again last week. Guardians 3 is probably the best he's did. As a writer, director, everything, right? Now you say you like Superman films except 3 and 4. First off, Superman 4, Quest for Peace, needs a little more love, man. We need a little more love with Superman 4, Quest for Peace. All right, just saying, man. That's probably my number one guilty pleasure. I grew up thinking Superman 4 was amazing, growing up watching that film. So to get older and realize people really didn't like that film, I was shocked. I was really shocked. But you say you'll give it a chance. Also, who has the best VFX? Warner's or Disney? Well, it comes down to the VFX companies, right? That they do. So you got Disney with the Industrial Light and Magic VFX team. So they do a lot of that. They've touched a lot of the Marvel films and things like that. And then with Warner Brothers, you got I think Weta. I think Weta does a lot of special effects for them. Scanline does some great works. But I would say overall, I would give it to Disney because they do all that live action Disney stuff. And again, Industrial Light and Magic is a pretty big company for VFX. So that'd be my choice. Appreciate your question out there, Paul, and throwing something else into the arena here. Let's give Paul the drop. Maria said Guardians 2 was goofy. Too goofy. Oh man, Maria, you said Quest for Peace was trash. Then you put the trash can to to highlight that you think one of my favorite movies was trash. And then Maria goes further. She says Nuclear Man is one of the stupidest villains. Now, he was one of my favorite. And Maria was like, no, first I'm putting a trash can and then letting you know one of your favorite villains was the stupidest ever. Hey, where's the love? Oh my goodness. Superman 4, at least part 3 is fun because of prior. Yeah, I mean, Superman 3, that last part kind of creeped me out. And Superman 3, when an old girl falls into that machine. And again, I'm young. I'm young watching this grow up, y'all. Okay, so Superman 3, that creeped me out, right? I was like, oh my God. What's happening to her turning into a robot? Like, what is this? This is creepy. Let's see. Marcus hates Quest for Peace. Oh my goodness. Jovic took this time to diss James Gunn again. Somehow Jovic's like, you know what? No matter what y'all saying, I just want y'all to know I don't like James Gunn. That's hilarious. Fernando said, I never in my life thought I would hear someone give Quest for Peace love. Oh my God. Oh man. This is next level. I've never experienced this much hate on my own stream. Even the antis didn't do me like this. You got loyal viewers saying, nah, that's trash. Oh, man. That's wild. But appreciate you, Paul, for your graciousness coming through, unlike the loyal viewers here. Let's see. Jovic says, I never watched Quest for Peace. Should I? Jovic, have you seen, if you can tolerate Superman 3, that's not really a good comparison, but what did you see Superman 3, Jovic? That's probably the first question. Because like if you kind of tolerate it, because Superman 3 made some weird creative choices. I mean, you're talking about, you know, from Batman like Batman Returns to like Batman and Robin levels of differences. You only watch 1 and 2. Yeah, Jovic, I mean, I'm not encouraging people to be under the influence watching anything, but if you do that, that'll be a good film to watch. I'll just say that. You probably have to be under the influence on that one. Just saying. That's wild. I'm not promoting anything, kids out there. Oh, man. Batman and Robin under the influence. Okay, then yeah, give Quest for Peace a chance. Give it a chance. That's the only way I watch Batman and Robin again. See, what upsetted me about Batman and Robin is that's after I really started reading comics, right? And so Batman Nightfall, Bane was like just a very important character at that time. My early days of reading comics. So going to the theaters and seeing the bastardization of Bane and Batman and Robin, I could never return and watch that film again. Like it'll probably come on TV or something. I'll probably, turn the channel through it real quick and then turn away from it. They ruined Bane. Like that was so upsetting. I was so upset in the theaters. So Batman and Robin, that's like an unforgivable sin. Yeah, unforgivable. So yeah, you have to be under the influence. Yes, yes. Amazing. All right. Let's see. We got any more glazing in this letter here? We need the glazing. As we mentioned, Dana White, Turkey Al Sheikh. Oh, dang. And close the screen I didn't want to close. All right, let's get this together. I can't go like even the Arnold part was actually not as bad because again, it's the film they're trying to do, right? So it's like, okay, they're making this goofy, but not Bane, man. Don't do that to Bane. That's I can't watch the film. I could watch it for the Ivy parts. I thought Uma Thurman was fine. Yeah, again, this was a campy film, so I get it. I mean, you do like it's almost like Adam West, live action. I get it. Just Bane, you did too much messing up Bane. That's where I draw the line. Even under the influence, that would take me down. That would take me off the clouds when I see Bane. Amazing. All right, in this letter about Stone Quarry. Stone Quarry was let me pull this up on my end. Hold on. I had to blow it up. Stone Quarry was co-founded by director, writer, producer, director of photography, Zack Snyder, and his wife, producing partner, Deborah Snyder. He most recently produced recent hits, Rebel Moon Part 2, Rebel Moon Part 1, Army of the Dead, Army of Thieves, Twilight of the Gods for Netflix. Upcoming, they are in development of the untitled LAPD project for Netflix, marking their fourth feature to fall under creative partnership between Stone Quarry and Netflix. He still has that first look deal with Netflix, people. I reported that last spring, no, 2 years ago, that he got that extension. Could be up to 10 years. I put out the first video on that. So you got the LAPD film. So it's, Zack Snyder was supposed to do SWAT back in the day, right? With Colin Farrell. So Zack's going to do his SWAT film now. That's going to be interesting. That's going to be pretty interesting. Yeah, Netflix, Netflix gotta kind of wake up. You got the whole fandom just ready for Zack Snyder content. Don't cheat us out of that. The Snyders most notably produced Zack Snyder's Justice League for HBO Max. I'm doing too much right now. Let's see. Hold on. Let's go to the next page. Let's see. Where's the next page? L. There we go. Zack Snyder's Justice League for HBO Max to critical acclaim. And the wildly successful cultural phenomenon remains as one of the platform's most viewed film debuts. Talking about Zack Snyder's Justice League. It's amazing because I think I just had a disagreement with somebody online probably the last couple months. They tried to bring up, it was this stat that says, well, everyone that started watching Zack Snyder's Justice League when it launched, they didn't finish the film. And people took that headline, they tried to just parrot that all around. And so I went straight to the source. Who put out that figure? Well, people that started didn't even watch it. That was a misquote from Samba TV. They're friends of this channel. They've been on this channel multiple times. I have to get something together again with them because, like I said, we did multiple videos on this channel about the numbers for Zack Snyder's Justice League, and they said it was an undeniable success. Zack Snyder's Justice League, and people said, "Oh, well, Wonder Woman 84 destroyed Zack Snyder's Justice League in views for the first week or two, or whatever they're talking about." And then I had Sama TV. They had their charts. It's like a literal video I have. And they said, well, yeah, but after that opening week, at the beginning of the lockdowns, Wonder Woman 84 had a really good start because people were opting to watch that instead of go to theaters. And then it kind of settled with a number. Again, that was a very new experience for people watching these films at home. And they got a lot of, viewership at first. Then it leveled off. Zack Snyder's Justice League comes out like a year after Wonder Woman 84. And like a rocket, it caught up with the viewership for Wonder Woman 84 in the first month, Zack Snyder's Justice League. So people were misquoting Sama TV. I have video evidence of their figures. And it's kind of clear it was a success. But hey, don't mind me. Turkey Al-Ashik is telling you it was critical acclaim. Man, that is true. Wildly successful cultural phenomenon, global phenomenon. One of the platform's most viewed films debuts. This is all true. And then, of course, Stone Quarry has been attached to Wonder Woman 84, which, hey, get your points. It's all good. David Ayer's Suicide Squad, Studio Squad. The Suicide Squad, Stone Quarry was given points for the Suicide Squad. That's how they got Zack Snyder out of the contract. They threw his name on a couple films. I think they put Stone Quarry on the Batman as well. I know they're on the Flash. Maybe it was the Flash, yeah. It may have been Batman too, but they just threw Stone Quarry on there to give him his points, and then it was like, okay, go away, Zach. That's when Zach said, suck at Warner Brothers. Okay, memories. Stone Quarry is attached to Man of Steel, BVS, Dawn of Justice, Aquaman 300, Watchmen, among others. So if people are confused of the wildly successful Zack Snyder's Justice League, I'll let His Excellency fill you in on that. All right? Amazing. Interesting stuff, man. This is this partnership means you got the money people. You got your main funder. If something needs to be put together to fund, like let's say third party DC. Well, you got the right people with money, and Turkey Al-Ashik, he loves Zack Snyder. But first thing obvious is the UFC film, and I'm expecting again multiple projects with this. This is gonna look just insane on the big screen. Zack is again a visual genius. Action genius. This is gonna be nuts, man. This film's gonna be crazy. I cannot wait. And now, like I said, we're waiting for a major film studio to pick this up because I don't think they're gonna go fully independent with this, right? The UFC, got that money. And so they can, and Dana White, he's going to convince one of these movie studios, don't rule out Warner Brothers. Don't rule them out. But like I said, Lionsgate, Universal, and Warner Brothers. If I was going to pick one just out of any of the studios, I would actually rather go the Amazon MGM route with this film. I didn't hear that Amazon's like in the running or anything. It just, that would be cool to kind of give it the treatment like they gave Ben Affleck's film Air. You know, you put that in theaters for like a month or two, and then stream it on Amazon. So you got the theater gate and you got the streaming boost. But I mean, that's what I would do for like almost any film. But yeah, I think a major studio is going to step up though. You got this partnership here. You're going to have major studios stepping up. So yeah. If Zach has their back and he can afford anything he wants, yeah. I mean, that's what I'm saying. It's all about the money. If WB, just give you a scenario. If WB is like, okay, you could use your version of the Justice League characters and produce it with any the third party. Well, let's say if he does the Amazon MGM route, and we're saying, okay, Zack Snyder's Justice League 2 with Amazon MGM. Have a limited theater run, put it on streaming afterwards. Or even Warner Bros. Could say, okay, after you put it on theaters, then it has to stream with us. Because Zaslav, he could be a bonehead, but he did not sell ZSJL. He said, no, you got to come to Max to watch the Snyder Cut unless you get physical media. Amazon wanted the Snyder Cut. Amazon, when they got Man of Steel over there on Prime, because you subscribe to Prime and you was able to watch Man of Steel, BVS Ultimate Edition, and they asked for the Snyder Cut as well. I reported this, was it 2023? And Zaslav said no. Zaslav would not let the Snyder Cut go off of HBO Max. And now what Turkey Al-Sheikh is saying, why? Because it's still a very highly viewed film. And that's Zaslav's vision, is that, we'll put some of his other DC stuff out there, but we want some exclusives on Max. And Snyder Cut is one of them. And just recently, Zach, on the anniversary of the Snyder Cut release, Zack Snyder put out there, hey, go watch it on Max. Zach did that. So that is what it is. That's where we're at. That's where we're at with that. We got the money people. He's doing one of their brand projects. Definitely expect something more with them over there, and then joint efforts with other places. So yeah, so if we say, okay, let's go to Amazon, and WB is like, okay, you could use your version of the Justice League, but maybe, and this is just me speculating, you can do that, but then maybe you can get like a window of time you can stream it over there too, but then it has to come to Max. They're going to want some piece of that viewership. And then Warner Bros. Also could be like, well, and then we're not paying to make this. Y'all are paying us to use the license, and then we get some streaming benefits as well. Or even some theatrical benefits. We'll distribute the film. Warner Bros. Could be like, we could distribute this film, but y'all got to pay for the budget. There's multiple ways this jigsaw can come together, but it starts with the money people. We got the money people. Now, if you really want to get nuts, if DC stays kind of mid, if Superman's like, yeah, it's okay, Supergirl is okay. Again, I think Supergirl is going to be great. But let's just say DC ain't really on top of it in a couple years. Then Warner Brothers, and it's out there now, Warner Brothers would be open to selling DC. It has to be like, things really got to go down for that to happen. But Turkey Al-Sheikh and his team already discussed possibly purchasing Warner Brothers. So Zaslav is aware. Zaslav's either been in the conversations or, but I thought that was an impossible possibility 3 years ago. Now I'm hearing that, really, if DC takes a nosedive, or if this DCU doesn't elevate like they want to over mid, DC could be for sale, along with Warner Brothers. But we're a couple years away, at least a year away from that conversation. But we like our long term. We like our long term developments, and so this is the first shoe to drop. Turkey Al-Ashik. We'll see what DC. We'll see what Superman does. We'll see what Supergirl does next year. Though again, no matter what Superman does, maybe this will be unpopular for some people, but I think Supergirl is going to be great. Actually, I'm probably glazing that too early, but I think Supergirl is going to be great. But we'll talk about that more on the Superman channel. We'll talk about Superman and all things Kryptonians over there. We talked about the leaks on the Superman channel as well. Go to that channel. Links in the description. Check out all the sylabdul Geek networks. Superman channel is really taking off. And so we're going to talk more. We got even more leaks today about Supergirl on top of the ones I already talked about. So I'll probably be popping up on the Superman channel tomorrow to talk more leaks as well. So interesting stuff, man. We'll see. Can DC get away from Warner Brothers? We may find out. We may find out real soon. Any last minute comments, questions, throw it in the chat. Appreciate the support on YouTube. I know I was giving YouTube a hard time earlier. But hey, we gotta get the algorithm back up. I know I took several breaks, so I get it. But we're gonna definitely build up that algorithm again. So appreciate those showing up live. Appreciate again the members. We're gonna be having some members content just for y'all. And then those that support the platform via Super Chat, Stream Elements. No matter how my schedule goes, I'm pretty sure I'm going to be live every weekend if time permits. So just keep that in mind. During the week, we'll see how frequent, but I'm going to at least upload some stuff to y'all as well. So good stuff. Let's check out the chat. As far as coming up with the platform, again, any last minute comments or questions, throw it in there. Like I said, I mentioned Superman channel. We'll talk more Supergirl probably tomorrow. I'm still getting my Marvel coverage together, so definitely stay tuned on that. If part of the entire Geek Network is really just covering, you just kind of get in where you fit in. The Linktree link should be in the description. sylabdul Geek Network, Linktree. Covering all different types of CBMs, but this is the core. This is the core channel because I touch a little bit on everything from this main podcast channel. So definitely check that out. All links will be in the description. So let's see here. Appreciate you, Carlos, for your continued support. For sure. I know we can't take so many breaks. Wednesday crew, I'm pretty sure like with Wednesdays, Carlos, and we'll see. We'll see. I definitely want to get some Wednesday streams back going, and I'll definitely try to let y'all know ahead of time. But aside from that, Carlos, I'll pull you in on some DC videos and conversations and stuff. So this summer is going to be pretty hot with this Superman stuff. So definitely. Zack has the money now to finance his DC movies if they give him a lot. I believe Zack Snyder's going to do DC again. Like I'm just going to say that every stream. You know what I mean? Like I believe that's going to happen. People were tying too much into this needs to fail and this needs no. I think Zack Snyder is going to do DC no matter what Gunn does, whether it's successful or not. Now, if you just also hate Gunn, then hey, you're gonna cheer for any downfall but that's not going to, I think, help or hurt Zack Snyder in any kind of way. I think Zack's going to do DC again. So that's where I'm at with that. Let's see. Yo, like the good old days. Yeah, we're gonna get back in here and get all into these reports. We had a lot to cover today. We almost at Snyder Cut level. We had 3 hours and 30 minutes, so we almost at 4 hours. We may not quite make it today. 4 hours, like old times, for sure. All right, what we got here? But more to come, Jovic. You already know, especially with the business, for sure. Hypothetically speaking, if Batman 2 never happens, how embarrassing would that be for WB, DC? Well, it'll depend on the reasoning, right? If they don't do the Batman sequel, let's just say it's something internal and they decide not to do it, then yeah, that'd be very embarrassing. And that could be something that will kind of affect the shareholders because they're counting on a Batman film, within a certain amount of years. And so if they keep delaying, that would be a problem. Yeah, that would be a problem. And there'll be a massive fumble because you had a critical success film along with a good audience score. Again, that's the combination, and you made money. So you got the trifecta with Matt Reeves' Batman. And then on top of that, you throw out a streaming show that wins Emmys. You have no reason not to do the Batman sequel. So yeah, if they just decide not to do it, yeah, that'd be very embarrassing. Yeah. But I super believe they're gonna, there's no reason not to do that film. You think when Rebel Moon game comes out, we'll hear more like part 3? We should. Good question with that. I meant to touch on the game earlier, but probably next stream I'll touch on that Rebel Moon game. So I'll just put it out there. I mean, this may not be like a story really, but it's probably like it makes sense when you hear it. But Zach's his team, they already pretty much put together the story for Rebel Moon 3 and 4. When they announced Rebel Moon 3, he would get part 4 as well. What's the hold up with Netflix? I'm not sure. Netflix, they kind of on some funny times. They a little bit on some funny times there. I mean, I didn't like how they released Rebel Moon, the director's cuts. I just didn't like the whole release strategy. I think they missed an opportunity to do your PG cuts. And then like that next month, they should have dropped the director's cuts. Because all those, all that viewership would have been in one bucket, one budget, overall 4 projects. I had that up not too long ago. And we got Grok 3. for people that's fans of Grok. But they did some real math on Grok, so I'll give them a little credit. 193 million views for Rebel Moon Saga across all 4 releases. Surpassed all but one film, Red Notice. So Rebel Moon, under that one budget, all that viewership will make it number 2 of all time Netflix ranking. Netflix, do another one of those. What are we doing? But when they decide to do another one, it will be 2. So Rebel Moon 3 and 4 together. What's Netflix waiting for? I don't know, man. Because now they want them to do this LAPD cop film, action film, which that's going to be great. This is Zack Snyder here we're talking about. That's going to be great. But Rebel Moon 2, that had like an interesting cliffhanger at the end of Rebel Moon Part 2, director's cut. Let's follow up on that, man. So that's my main criticism with Netflix is the release strategy and just how they're communicating all this, man. Like it's a couple L's right there. Is Blue Beetle still on schedule? I think we're talking about the animated Blue Beetle, right? I'm expecting to hear an update. I'd say this summer. I think you'll get an update at this year's Comic-Con of the Supergirl, and if Superman has that like the $80 million opening, like I was saying, they're gonna run like a pretty interesting victory lap. If Superman opens up July 11th, has a decent second week, and then you have San Diego Comic-Con, I think the week Fantastic Four opens, and DC can really, if Superman's doing well, they can really try to drum up as much hype as possible to hang in there after Fantastic Four drops. But I'm expecting definitely updates, Supergirl, Lanterns, this summer at Comic-Con, Clayface, the whole slate, and Blue Beetle animated. I believe they should definitely have an update this year. It's still on track. It's still on schedule. I think I'm trying to think. I think they already did voice work. I believe. I think I saw a report with that. But yeah, no, DC and their animation, like Creature Commandos season 2 is fast tracked. So they're going to be updating that. I gave my thoughts of Creature Commandos. I thought it was a good Easter egg hunt every week until the finale. Didn't like the finale, and Gunn fans hate me again for that. So, but Blue Beetle, definitely expecting an update this year. It's on track. Fernando, who do you think Gunn will end up choosing the new Batman? I'm terrible at casting, man. I know different people threw their names in the hat. My pick was always Alan Richardson. Like my report last year was that I heard he was campaigning pretty hard to be Batman. Then you got the Creature Commandos, where you got this studded up Batman with the chunky belt. This is Frank Miller Batman all day. Alan Richardson can easily be this Batman, but I didn't hear anything, definitive that he got the job or not. And then you got other people campaigning, so I guess he don't have the job, or at least not yet. So that is what it is. We'll see. We'll see what happens overall with the Batman stuff. But DCU Batman, I'm looking forward to that. I mean, I'm really Muschietti, I think, did a great job with the Batman stuff and Flash. I still like the Flash film. I mean, I know it's a lot of mixed films with Flash. I still like that film, and for what it was. So I think Muschietti would do a good job. Let's see. Netflix handled Rebel Moon poorly. Many people never saw R-rated cuts because it came out too late. Yeah, that's it. Netflix, L. Stop getting mad at Netflix. We got the movies. No, we got the movies, but I want greatness. Okay, that's why I want greatness. Anyway, we're gonna go ahead and dip on out of here, man. Appreciate y'all hanging out this long. I'll probably surprise y'all streaming this long. Y'all like, wait a minute, like usually you're in and out. But because of y'all support, I was like, let's keep it going. And we hit a lot of different stories with that. So much love to y'all. Much love again to the support. We're going to be back regular, likely doing weekly streams, maybe a couple a week. We're going to keep the content up over here. There'll be plenty to talk about this summer for Zack Snyder updates, notable DC news, and anytime Warner Brothers messes up. That's State of the Fandom. We out of here, y'all.